Welcome, my little couch potatoes, to the comfiest courtroom on the internet. I'm Llama, and it's time for dramatic testimony, overruled objections, and absolutely unqualified opinions. So grab your snuggiest blanket, some delicious snacks, and get ready to watch court with your internet besties. This is Couch Court with Llama. Who's all excited? Oh my gosh, I saw you guys. I've been sitting here. I've been sitting here since 8. I've been up, ready to go. And I was like, oh, it's still kind of early. I was so excited to come on because I've missed all of you guys so much this weekend. I'm glad we're back. Good morning, Lady in Gray. Good morning. Oops, sorry, I got some in my eye. I didn't mean to eye roll you. Oh, good morning, Teresa. Good morning. Happy to see you here again. Good morning, Buff. Oh, good morning, Mama Llama. Good morning to you. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning. We'll let everybody gather in. So obviously there's no court today for us Americans because it's Memorial Day, where we take the day to celebrate soldiers who have passed away and remember them. So it is a holiday here in America. Today I had no plans. So I was like, you know what? Let me hang out with my internet besties. So here I am. And we got a good lineup today, I think, for you guys. We're gonna watch the testimony from the first trial of Allie McCabe, Jen McCabe's daughter, and Colin Albert, who I think is Jen's nephew. He's Chris and Julie's kid, who I think, if I remember right, is no. Nicole is her sister. Julie is, I don't know who Julie is. But anyway, that's their kid. And then after that, we get to, oh, hi, Amy Beth. Hey. After that, so that's going to take us to about noon, 12:30 my time. And then at 12:30, we're going to portal you guys over and we're going to watch and hang out with Terry as she tells us all about her jury duty experience last week. So if you guys don't remember, she was gone. She got to serve on a jury, and we have been waiting patiently to hear about it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have an easy, fun day. I also have some very exciting news. Y'all remember co-host Annie, Big Prego co-host Annie? Well, guess what? She had her baby boy yesterday, and he is healthy and wonderful. They are both healthy and wonderful. And we got our first couch potato tater tot. How adorable is that to say? Anyway, so make sure you send her love in the chat. I don't know if she's going to be around today, but either way, let her know. Congratulations. We're so excited. It's her first. She sent so many cute pictures, and he's so precious. Love him so much already. Happy internet auntie over here. I know, right? Our first tater tot. Oh, I love it so much. I love it so much. Good morning, Angie. Good morning. Yes, the tater tot is here. It's so wonderful. It's so awesome to have been on this experience with her the whole time. So proud and happy of her. So Elbow Feet was out of town this weekend for a bachelor party. He went to Tennessee, and guess what, you guys? You got to see my snack today. This is amazing. Well, I don't know how well it's going to do on camera, but he got me these gummy tropical llamas. You can't really see them because of my green screen, but how cute are those? Because I love gummy things, but they make little llamas. I was like, oh my god, that's cool. Oh, it's the little things that I get excited about, you know. Good morning to our Facebook people. If you're watching, good morning. Oh, we also have, right? Aren't they awesome? They are awesome. So we have, we tried something this weekend, but we couldn't test it out until we went live. So while we're waiting for everyone else to gather in, who's here now wants to help. Okay. So would somebody please hit exclamation point couch in court? You're going to see a few commands here on the bottom of my screen that you guys should be able to put in, and it's supposed to do stuff. And I'm just curious if it works. I mean, Yeah. Oh, it worked. Oh, it worked. So if you type in couch, okay, look what happens. Little Nightbot tags you and said, just claim their seat on the couch. Welcome to the jury, like the stream, and prepare to judge with snark. What is that, you guys? I love it. We'll be adding some more special ones for just our members, but we're still deciding because we were like, oh, let's come up with some commands. We had to redo our sheet anyway. And then I got carried away and came up with like 50. So we got to narrow those down a bit. Oh, look, great. It's working for all of you. I love that. Yes. So now when you guys come in, once the show starts, commands do not work before we go live, but you can claim your seat on the couch. What else can you guys use? I think you can use the exclamation point Discord. It'll pop up our Discord. Oh, there it is on the bottom here. Gifts, if you want to learn how to get gifts. Info tells us social media stuff. And lurk just lets us know you're here, but you're just lurking in the background. So, oh, Kathy, you got to put an exclamation point before it, before any of the commands. That's the magic button, I guess. So try it again. Isn't that fun? Oh, we're so silly. I love it. I love it. Well, if you guys haven't yet, please hit that like button and let everybody know that we're live and that this is where the party is. I don't know how much of a party today is going to be, but I think it's still going to be a fun time. So the other day, excuse me, the other day I was going through our channel analytics, and last Thursday and Friday were insane here. I got all the viewers, subscribers, like, oh my gosh, how amazing is that? But I learned something. Get this, on Thursday, we had like 23,000 views. It was crazy. But what was interesting is that we got viewers from like 25 different countries, you guys. 25. That means people in 25 different countries have seen my face. It is very weird when you think about it. And then I also saw that like 40% of our viewers were watching on their TV. So if that's you, hello. It's also kind of weird to think that I'm on your TV right now. That's crazy. That's so weird when you think about it. I'm going to try never to really think about it again because it's very overwhelming when you do. Because like what, 40%? That's like 10,000 TVs. Like what? That's nuts. Anyway, it was such an awesome week last night, and I love all of our new subscribers and members, and it's just very cool. Speaking of members, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel, Terry and I are doing a members only at 8 p.m. Eastern, and she is planning it, which I don't know what that means. She won't tell me anything. Her and her secrets. Last time she kept a secret, she sent me a bottle of baby oil and a bottle of wine. So I'm not sure what to expect there. But I also know that Amos has been putting together a blooper reel or highlight reel, if you will, so our members can see how good I am. The pre-records for the ditty. It's very, I'm sure it'll be very, very funny. Very candid. So be sure you, if you're a member, you join us Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be very awesome. Let's see. Midday Missing will also be back Wednesday. We'll watch that during the court lunch break. And that show, the two missing cases are from Massachusetts. So we figured we're watching a Massachusetts trial. Let's see if we can get some info about some missing persons in that area as well. So we're doing that. And then Thursday, Terry hosts True Crime and Wine Time with special guest Captain, who's fantastic and hilarious. She did the Zizians with us a few times. They're going to be doing the Glennon Engelman case, who is a dentist turned serial killer. Ooh, like we need more reasons to not want to go to the scary dentist. I don't know much about it, so I'm very excited to watch it. And that'll be Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern as well. Actually, from now on, True Crime and Wine Time is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, unless otherwise noted. We figured, you know what, we'll come a little earlier. That way we're not on so late. But yeah, so we got a jam-packed week for you guys. So excited. I heard a rumor going around is that the prosecution only plans on calling one more witness for Karen Reed. Which I'm assuming is Dr. Welcher of Aperture. So we'll see how that goes. And then it's going to be turned over to the defense. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I want your TV and your laptop stereo. Oh my. Oh my. All the devices. I love it. Thank you guys. I was going to have Elbow Feet on with me this morning because he's not at work today because it's a holiday, but he's sleeping in. Because I told him before he left, I was like, bro, we are like almost 40 years old. Okay. Remember that when you're drinking. Okay. Do you think he listened to me? Chat? Mm-mm. He did not. He did not. So I think he's sleeping in this morning. Oh. Lady in Gray says, I think Dr. Welcher will be on the stand all week. You know, Alessi has all the questions ready. Oh, I definitely think he's, because Burgess was on for like a total of 7 hours in 2 days. And so I expect just as much because Dr. Welcher is like the reconstructionist accident guy who's going to go up against ARCA. So I do think he's going to be on there for at least 2 days. And there's some burps. You'll get lots of those in the members only as well. I'm sure Amy cut every single burp I made when recording. Probably. Yeah, no, I think he'll be on for about 2 days too. I'm curious as to who all defense is going to call though. I hope they call disgraced former trooper Michael Proctor. Do I hope for it? Amazing. All right. Let's see. All right, we'll still give some people some time and then we'll start Allie. So Allie McCabe's testimony is about an hour and 10 minutes. And then Colin's is right after hers. Wherever. His is an hour and 48 minutes. So not very long ones to get through today. I don't know what exactly they're testifying about. I know that they were at the house that night, but I don't know anything more than that. So, oh yeah, look, there's our new tap that like button. That's right. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button. Share it. If you have social media, share it on social media. Because apparently, when I was looking at all those analytic numbers, the more you guys share, the more it helps, like a lot. A lot. Especially if you have X, it seems that does a lot too. Oh, hey, Polly. So yeah, that would be awesome. Oh yeah, they did say they would. Yeah, that's true. You mean Proctor, right? I think so. I think that's what your comments in reply to. Oh boy, I hope so. That'll be a wonderful day. I do think that they're going to call Proctor. I mean, they have said his name repeatedly as much as possible. Do you guys think they're going to call Higgins though? Because see, they're trying to shift blame over to the two adult Bryans. Oh, look at my hair is getting all weird again. Oh, sorry. But if you're putting the blame on somebody else or hinting that it could be someone else, we'll put it that way, would you really want to call them to the stand and open up that opportunity? Sure, they could say something that would really help you out, but they could also say something that could tear apart your whole third-party culprit there. So I don't know if they're going to call Higgins or not. I don't understand why it's eating my hair. Oh, Proctor. Okay, I thought so. Oh, I hope so. I hope so bad. Oh, Amy says, I wish they would call Higgins. I don't think they will, though. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they will, but I kind of want them to, but we'll see. We'll see. I think the jury is expecting certain people to be called, and maybe they're expecting him. The reason I say expecting is just because the names that they've brought up consistently, which is interesting because some of those are also like Officer Tolley and Link. Those guys I don't think are coming up. Let's see. Lady in Gray. Excuse me. I haven't talked in a couple days to everybody, and my throat is like, what are we doing? Okay, Lady in Gray says they will call Proctor. I think they call Higgins to answer for his CPD phone call and not moving cars. He also needs to talk about destroying his phone on a military base. Consciousness of guilt. I mean, yes. Yes. Because they did bring the video in. So maybe. I don't know. I'm way too excited about the defense's case, which is not how it's supposed to be. But I'm very excited about it. I think if they can put together a cohesive timeline, they're going to go a lot farther with the jury than Brennan has been able to manage. Yes, that's right. If you guys are just coming in, we got some commands that you guys can use. If you do !couch, guess what happens? Our lovely little Nightbot tags you and says that you just claimed your seat on the couch. And there's plenty of room for everybody. So go ahead, give it a try in the chat. You can also use lurk. If you're not really chatting, but you're watching, you just want everybody to know you're here, you can do that too. I have them on the bottom, so that way we can try them all out today. And then we're going to be adding some more for our members to use, some special ones just for them. I don't know what they're going to be yet, but I'm very excited. Very excited about that. Kathy says, Higgins said he liked Karen so much and left her. I think he definitely liked her. A lot. Ugh. Yes, good morning, Polly Percy Beyonce. Good morning, babes. Yeah, I think the defense case is going to be so good. Can't wait. And I'm also interested to see how Brennan is going to be. Because remember, he's a defense attorney by day, special prosecutor now for this case, but he's actually a defense attorney and he's a mob defense attorney. So I'm curious to see how he's going to be when the defense is presenting their case. Like, is he going to be more of a bulldog? Because we did see him kind of be a little bit more different when he was doing voir dire with the ARCA guys. So I'm also curious to see him in his defense element, if you will. So we'll see. Lady in Gray says, I agree. It isn't normal to want to see the defense. To me, that says a lot about the prosecution. Yeah, I mean, usually the only thing we really look for when it's the defense's case is where it's always like, is the defendant going to testify? Is the defendant going to testify? I don't think Karen's going to testify. I don't see why she needs to, because in some cases, like, you kind of do need to hear the defendant. It just depends on the alleged crimes. But yeah, I'm very, very excited about it. Oh, Brennan, yeah, he was. Are you guys friends? You guys are on a first name basis and you talk about your families. You guys must be best friends. Oh, that guy. I mean, you guys, it doesn't seem like they're winning their case at all. Not even close. Like, is Brennan just going to give up when we come back this week? Because, again, they haven't proved much of anything. All right? They haven't proved that the car, I understand that there's broken taillight pieces in the yard that people found, but as far as we know, there's no data from the car that she hit anything. And so that's just kind of weird to me. Like, there hasn't been any proof of an actual collision. I mean, even John's body doesn't seem like it collided with a car. So I don't think it's gone well for them, in my opinion. And they've done some things where I think the jury's going to feel duped as well. You know, some shady practices that I'm sure some of them has had to pick up on, right? Like the reverse photos and the inverted video and Burgess not even being qualified, no pictures of anything. Missing ring footage, the only one that's missing. Just so much stuff that if I was a juror, I'd be like, what is happening? Yes, no pictures of anything. How weird is that? It's weird and suspicious. Because it's like crime scene 101. Crime scene 101. You take pictures of everything. Everything. Oh, I guess I should share my screen for when it's time. We'll give everyone just a few more minutes and then we'll get started, guys. How's that sound? I don't need to see those tips again. Thank you, StreamYard. There we go. Throw in, we're ready with that. Oh, okay. And right there you go. Okay. And I have my other chat open, so if we want to do some polls today, we can do that. Not the best at remembering I even have that ability, because that's like on a window that gets... How many windows do I have open? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 windows open right now. So it's crazy. It's crazy running one of these shows. All right. Do you all have a good weekend? I hope you did. Saturday, I didn't even get out of bed. I was like, yes. Well, that was my plan. I was like, I'm not getting out at all. And it was amazing. That's right. Tap that like button. Okay. Let me get that lined up. Sure. Some closed captions are on. Cool. Because I know you guys like those. I like them too. Because sometimes, especially with this first trial, they don't even have a microphone at the podium. Or, yeah, at the lawyer podium. There's not even a microphone on there for some reason, which is weird. The microphone, if you see, it's like off to the side. I think it's like right in front of the jury, like because they all have these bars that go around and create like a pin. But you'll see, or at least last week, the one we watched last week with Jen, it was like far away. Such a weird courtroom. Oh, also, you guys, if you haven't joined our Discord yet, some of you did. It was so nice seeing you in there over the weekend. We have a Discord server that we all hang out in and run when we're not live. So feel free to join it. So tonight and tomorrow, apparently the new Sherry Papini documentary is supposed to come out. Now, we're probably not going to watch it till later in the week. But you want to join because we're all going to watch it together and we're all going to be snarky together. You guys remember Sherry Papini? She was the one who faked her own kidnapping out in California, and she ended up actually just being with like an ex, and she made up this whole elaborate story. Well, apparently she just got out of prison for it, and she wants to tell her side, her truth. Get out of here. Get out of here. Talk about a liar, pants on fire. Anyway, so yeah, be sure you join our Discord because we are definitely all going to get together and watch that this week because I can't wait. That's right. We do lots of things there. We hang out. We talk about all sorts of things. We talk about true crime. We have case files, court documents. We play games and watch shows together. Some true crime, some not, because a lot of us are pretty nerdy. So, and I specifically watch a lot of TV. So I'm always like, let's stream this whole show and binge it. She now says she was really kidnapped. Do you believe her? I don't. Of course. She's like, no, I was kidnapped. I did these things. I don't believe it. I don't believe her at all. Like, now's not a good time to try to save face, lady. All right, you guys. Well, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Okay. It's only been a few days, Llama, since you've been on, so get it together. You know how to do this. There we go. All right. There is Allie McCabe. Got subtitles on. Let's do this, shall we?
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Would you please state your name and spell your last name?
Allie McCabe, MCCABE.
And where do you live, ma'am?
Canton.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
Basically my whole life except first few months I lived in Stoughton.
And you work, you go to school?
I'm a student.
Oh, it'd help if I turn my
college,
plate.
is that correct?
Yes.
And what year are you in college?
I just finished my sophomore year.
And when living in Canton, who, if anyone, do you live in Canton?
My two parents and my 3 sisters.
So you're one of 4 girls, is that correct?
Correct.
And are you the oldest?
Yes.
And your parents, what are their names?
Matt and Jen.
If I could turn your attention to January 28th into January 29th, 2022. Do you recall those days?
Yes.
And do you recall what days of the week those were?
Friday and Saturday, I believe.
And so on that Friday evening, starting with there, well, let me ask you this first. At that time, you were a high school student, is that correct?
Correct.
And where did you go to high school?
Canton High School.
All 4 years?
Yes.
And did you play any sports when you were at Canton High School?
Yes.
And what sports did you play?
Soccer, hockey, and lacrosse.
And so
All the sports.
January, that would have been which sports season?
Hockey season.
Now, with respect to the hockey, as far as that evening of the 28th, how did your evening start out, or what, if anything, were you doing first that evening?
It started with a team dinner at my house.
Sorry.
The hockey team came over. We had dinner. Then I went to my sister's basketball game at the Canton High School. Then I was hanging out with 2 of my friends. We were driving around. Then the night ended with me driving Colin Albert home.
And so let me start sort of back at the beginning before we go all the way through. So as far as the team dinner, is that something that was like a weekly thing?
Yeah, it was usually like the night before a game.
And sort of rotated between different players' houses?
Correct.
And so where was it on that particular?
That night it was at my house.
And about what time did the team dinner get done, or what time did that wind down and you went to the basketball?
I'm not exactly sure. The basketball games typically start around 6:30, so I assume around then.
And who, if anyone, from your family was involved in the basketball?
My younger sister.
And was she JV, varsity? What was she playing on at that time?
Varsity.
And who, if anyone else from your family, was at the basketball?
My parents. I'm not sure about my sisters.
And did you go with your parents or separately, or how did you get?
I believe I drove and I arrived later than my parents.
And as far as at that time, did you have your own car?
Yes.
And what kind of car did you have?
A little Ford Fusion, blue.
And when you arrived there, you're a high school senior, correct?
Correct.
Did you sit with your parents during the game?
No.
There's sort of like a student section, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you sat there with your friends?
Yes.
And when the game gets over, where was it that you went?
I believe I was just driving around with 2 of my friends. And then as we were driving, we came across a dog on the side of the street. We knew a snowstorm was coming. So we picked the dog up and then brought it to the police station and then drove the dog back to where its owner's house.
And so just as far as the friends that you were driving around with, what are their names?
Avery Panadosi and Danielle Seaman.
Can you do us a favor and spell those last names for our court
Yes.
reporter, please?
Piantedosi.
And the second name?
S. Danielle Seaman, Seaman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And those were friends of yours from school, from Canton High School as well?
Yes.
And had they been with you at the game previously?
Yes, I believe so.
So you, when you say drove around, whereabouts were you driving around?
Through Canton, pretty aimlessly, just driving.
And at some point you come upon a dog, is that correct?
Correct.
And where was that?
On Elm Street.
And this was a dog obviously unfamiliar to you, is that correct?
Yes.
What did you do with the dog?
The dog ran over to the car when we stopped and picked the dog up, and we didn't really know what to do with it, so we brought it to the police station.
Do you recall at all what kind of dog it was?
No, white.
Small dog?
It was small. It was white and brown. Not sure what type.
And so while you're at the police station, what, if anything, did you learn about that dog that you brought to the police station?
I went in the police station. The dog stayed in the car with one of my friends. And as I was walking in and telling the officer that I found a dog, he got a call from the owner, and she asked if she was like, "Oh, can you return my dog, please?"
And so you brought the dog back to the owner?
Yes.
You know about what time all of that was going on?
I'm not sure.
Now, you mentioned that you had picked up a person by the name of Colin Albert, is that right?
Correct.
And who was Colin Albert to you, or can you describe to the jury sort of your relationship with Colin?
I've known Colin since I've been born. Our families are very close. We went to high school together, growing up, in the same friend group. So yeah, we're very close.
So he was in the same grade as you, is that right?
Correct.
So he was a senior at this time as well?
Yes.
And you have mutual friends together?
Yes.
Now, the two of you are not actually sort of blood related, is that correct?
Correct.
But you have sort of relatives in common, is that correct?
Yes.
And to that point, as far as when he reached out to you, let me ask you this. How is it that you came to come by and sort of pick him up on that evening?
He texted me and was asking for a ride, and then I responded, drove, and got him, texted him when I arrived.
Now, as far as that sort of, I don't know what exactly to call it, but as far as you picking him up at certain places, like on weekend nights, was that out of the realm of normalcy, or was that something that happened on occasion?
No, that's common. He knew I was driving that night, so it's pretty common. Our friends, we always just drive each other around and stuff.
And without getting too much into it, as far as high school was concerned, particularly when someone was drinking, would they call and ask for a ride?
Correct, yes.
Rather than driving their own car?
Yes.
And as far as you knew, was Colin drinking at least at some point during that evening?
Yes.
Is that why he needed a ride?
Yes.
And with respect to your parents, did you, around this time that you're driving around and you're going to pick up Colin, did you have any idea where your parents were or what they were doing?
I knew they were going out after the basketball game, but no, I didn't know. I have their Life 360. They have mine, so I wasn't sure though.
And as far as the Life 360 goes, is that something that you sort of keep track of them, or they keep track of you?
It's more them keeping track of me.
Now, you know approximately what time it was that you first get sort of a Colin reaches out via text to pick him up?
I believe it was around midnight. Not exactly what sure exact, but around midnight.
And did you know where he was when he asked you to pick him up?
Yes, the Albert's house, 34 Fairview.
And is that a house that you're familiar with?
Yes.
And what, if any, relationship do you have to the people that live at the Alberts?
My aunt and uncle and my cousins.
So Brian Albert is your uncle, correct?
Correct.
Paul Albert is your aunt.
Correct.
How is she your aunt? The father's side, the mother's side?
My mother's sister.
And Colin Albert, obviously last name Albert, he's related to people at Fairview as well.
Correct.
That's sort of on the other side of the family.
Correct.
And do you know as far as your conversation with Colin, do you know why he was over at that house that night?
It was little Brian's birthday.
And so he had gone over for that purpose and you went by to pick him.
Yes.
And do you recall where you were or sort of who you were with when you first get that text or communication from Colin to pick him up?
Yes, I was at another friend's house. After I drove Avery and Danielle home, I went somewhere else.
So you drove with two friends that you were with earlier home and then you went somewhere else?
Yes, I believe, yes.
At that point, did you get a text from Colin?
Yes.
Now, do you recall whether or not the information that you had as to where Colin was that night, is that something that came via text
So true.
or was that a phone call or some other type of communication?
I knew he was there. Could have been a phone call. I'm not sure.
So were there a variety of different ways that you would have communicated with Colin around that time?
Yes, there's other apps as well. Yes.
I'm sorry, you said through apps as well?
Yes.
What kind of apps is it?
For example, like Snapchat.
So you had each other's sort of Snapchat information, phone number information, call, text, snap, ribbon, any of those things.
Yes.
Now, when you get that communication from him to come pick him up, about how long a period of time was it from the time that you get the text from Colin to the time that you arrive in the area?
I'm not sure.
And you're familiar with that home at 34 Fairview, right?
Correct.
Place you've been to countless times before. You're related to the people that own it.
Correct.
And do you recall from where you were coming from as far as how did you come to Fairview? Would that have been on the Chapman side or the Cedar Crest side, or how did you come?
I don't remember.
And when you get to the home, you obviously park at some point, correct?
Correct.
And where in relation to the house did you park?
I believe in the driveway on the left side. Not entirely sure. I just believe that.
And when you arrive, what, if any, communication did you send to Colin?
I texted him saying here.
And after you texted that to Colin, he comes out of the house, is that correct?
Correct.
And when he comes out of the house, about how long a period of time was it from the time that you texted him here to the time that he comes out to the car?
I'm not sure. A few minutes.
And in the area around the time that you arrived on Fairview Road, what, if anything, do you recall in regard to weather, or what was it doing?
I believe it was starting to snow. Nothing crazy.
As far as accumulation, what, if anything, did you observe at that time?
Lights on in the house. That's it.
As far as the snow was concerned, was it starting to sort of stick to the ground?
I don't remember.
So you text Colin shortly thereafter he comes out, is that right?
Correct.
You recall, you're familiar, obviously, as I've asked you a couple times now with the house. There are two doors in the front of the house, is that right?
Yes.
And do you know which of the two doors Colin came out of?
No, I'm not sure.
And when he came down, he came over to the car, correct?
Yes.
And you're in the driveway?
Yes.
He gets into what part of the car? Front passenger seat?
Yes, I believe.
And from the time that you, so when you leave from there, where is it that you went?
His house and then my house.
You dropped him off at his house and then you went home?
Correct.
Now, Ms. McCabe, if I could take you back just to a little bit from where we had left off. When you arrived at the residence at 34 Fairview Road, you pulled into the driveway, is that correct?
I believe so.
And obviously, on that date, you were familiar with the types of vehicles that your parents drove?
Yes.
And did you see any of your parents' vehicles at the home when you pulled in and parked in the driveway?
No.
And when you got to the house at any point, did you exit the car or go inside the house?
No.
So you texted him that you were there, and you stayed in the car, and he came out.
Yes.
And when Colin came out to the car, what, if any, observations did you make of him in regards to his sobriety? As far as what, if any, observations did you make in respect to that?
Normal.
Didn't seem overly intoxicated to you.
No.
And as far as his face or features, or from whatever you could see, what, if any, injuries did you observe on Colin when he came out?
None.
And how would you describe his demeanor when he came out and he got into the car?
Normal.
Now, during the course, you drove from the Fairview home to Colin's house, is that right?
Yes.
And where was Colin living at that point?
I don't know the address, but his new house, not the one where he was neighbors with John, the newer house.
And if you could, just generally speaking, where was that in relation to the town of Canton? What was it?
It's in the center of town, close to the library.
And do you recall, or do you know what type of residence that is?
Yes, it's like condos. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, townhouses.
As far as your drive from the residence in Fairview to Colin's house, did you make any stops along the way?
No.
About how long a drive is it from Fairview to Colin's new house?
7 minutes, 5 minutes.
I like how you can
When
hear
you
the
arrived
birds.
there, what did you observe Colin do?
Got out of the car, went inside, got the key, locked it, went inside.
And is that something as far as, did you wait for him to get inside?
Yes.
And why was it?
I always wait for him because it's like how he has to open the first door to get inside. So I usually just wait for everyone to get inside.
And during the car ride from Fairview to Colin's house, do you recall anything specific about, did you have a conversation with him?
Probably. I don't remember what we were talking about.
And then following that, where did you go?
I believe home.
And when you got home, were either of your parents home at that point?
No,
Do you know about what time it was that you got?
not exactly. I would estimate a little bit before 12:30, around that time.
And at any point in time over the rest of the course of that evening, did you see your parents? Did you talk to your parents or anything like that?
I know I talked to my dad on the phone when we found the dog. Other than that, no.
And so after your return home, when you went to bed or you went to sleep, were your parents home at that point?
No.
About how much time was it between the time when you got home, around 12:30 or so, and when you went to sleep?
Not long. I don't know.
Now, turning your attention to the following day, at some point you woke up, correct?
Yes.
And were your parents home at that point?
Yes.
And were both of your parents home at that point?
Yes.
Do you know about what time it was that you woke up the next morning?
No, I do not.
Now, Ms. McCabe, at some point in August of 2023, did you have occasion to meet with some troopers from the state police?
Yes, I believe. I'm not sure what time, but on a Zoom.
And was that one trooper or more than one trooper or something?
I believe 2. I'm not sure.
Do you recall any of the names of any of those troopers?
Yuri maybe was one of them. I'm not sure.
Now, ma'am, following that meeting that you had with troopers from the state police, what, if anything, did you provide to them from your phone?
Text messages with Colin, maybe pictures. I don't know. Definitely the text messages.
And before we get to that, just as far as your phone, what kind of phone did you have at that time?
I believe an iPhone 14 Pro Max, maybe.
And I should have been more specific as far as the time, but the iPhone you're talking about as far as the Pro Max, was that in January of 2022?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or in September,
No,
August?
they're not.
That was in August.
And between January of 2022 and August of 2023, did you have the same phone throughout that time period?
I'm not sure. I believe I upgraded. Yeah.
And when you upgraded your phone, what, if any, data sort of carried over from the old phone to the new phone?
Everything.
So as far as chats or text messages or phone contacts, things like that, all of that transferred from one phone to the new phone?
Correct.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
He sure is asking
And so
her some
first thing I'm gonna
interesting
show you-
questions.
Two-page document, ask you to take a look at it and look up.
Okay.
And do you recognize that, man?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that?
This is from my phone, my text messages.
And the second page, what is that?
Colin's contact information.
Are those screenshots that you took from your phone and provided to the the troopers in August of 2023.
Yes, yes, yes.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
Commonwealth seeks to introduce it as objection that has to be heard.
Okay, come on up and bring that. All right, the lawyers are going to get to ask you a few questions now before we go any further in front of the jury.
Oh, she has to be more here.
So,
Okay. Interesting.
Mr. Lally, you can take the exhibits back and you can question this witness, and then Ms. Giannetti can cross-examine.
May I approach with?
Yes.
Alderman? So, Ms. McCabe, with reference to the two screenshots that we were just talking about before the jury left the room, those are screenshots that you took from your own phone, correct?
Correct.
And as far as the communications contained therein, is it your memory that those are communications that you had with Colin Albert?
Why don't you ask her what they are, non-leading?
Those
Okay.
screenshots, as far as the communications, what are they? When were they done?
At a later date. Is that what you're asking? Sorry.
So I'm asking, as far as the actual content of the conversations, when did those conversations occur?
January 28th.
And you were a participant in those conversations?
Yes.
And as far as the content of those conversations, is it your memory that the content reflected there is accurate as to what the content of the conversations were between yourself and Colin Albert the evening of the 28th into the 29th?
Yes.
And Colin Albert was somebody that you were familiar with, correct?
Yes.
And beyond what's contained within these screenshots, you had other text communications with Colin Albert using the same contact information.
Correct.
And how is it that you knew or were aware that the person or the contact that you were talking to was Colin Albert?
Because it's his phone.
With reference to that contact you had in your phone for Colin Albert, had you called that number before?
Yes.
When you called the number, who answered?
Colin.
And when you had texted Colin on prior occasions using that contact information, did you have any, you have a text communication, did you have any subsequent conversation in relation to the content of those text communications?
Sorry, can you rephrase that?
And I'm not just asking specifically about these. What I'm saying is you have contact information in your phone for Colin Albert.
Yes.
And on any of those prior occasions when you had texted that contact information, you put in as Colin Albert into your phone.
Yes.
And just to be clear, you were the one who input that number as Colin Albert in your phone.
Yes.
And so on this or any prior occasions when you had contacted via text, that contact of Colin Albert in your phone, following those text communications, did you have any conversation with Colin Albert related to the content of those communications?
Sorry, I'm confused.
Do you understand the question?
No,
You have to make
Sorry.
these simpler. Let's try and get through this for dear Mr. Lally.
Yes.
At some point during the course of how long had you had Colin's contact information in your phone?
For a while, years.
And over the course of those years, had you had conversations related to content in text in person?
Oh, yes.
And as far as the content that you had texted to that number you associated or input as Colin Albert, was Colin Albert aware of the content of those text communications?
Oh, correct. Yeah.
And within those specific screenshot of the text communications from that evening, as far as your recollection of that particular evening, are the times that are associated with those accurate as far as you remember?
Yes.
And did you do anything to alter the times that are associated with those text communications prior to taking the screenshot and giving it to the state police?
I
No.
like your name.
Now, turning to the other two screenshots that you took, those are photographs, correct?
Did I take them?
I'm just asking what they are.
Oh, both pictures of Colin. One's with my aunt. The other's just him and some other people blocked off.
And do you know when and where those were taken?
Yes, they were taken at the Albert's house. One of their sons were coming home from the Marines. So it was like a welcome home party.
And when was that in relation to the evening of January 28th to 29th?
A few weeks after.
And that sort of coming home celebration for your cousin who was coming home from the Marines, were you there for that?
Yes.
It is.
And so as far as your observation of those photographs is what's depicted of Colin Albert, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what he looked like on February 11th?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
All right, Ms. Giannetti?
Thank you, Ron. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How long have you had an iPhone? I'm not talking about your current iPhone, but just iPhones in general.
For years.
More than 5 years?
Yes.
And how old are you now?
I'm 20.
And when did you get your first iPhone, if you remember?
I don't remember.
12, 13?
Yeah, around middle schoolish.
Maybe 7 or 8 years. Is that a decent estimate?
Yes.
And in those 7 or 8 years, you have learned how to operate an iPhone, the various features that they have and the apps that you can download and use, correct?
Correct.
And your current iPhone has a number of apps on it, correct?
Correct.
With regard to the text message app, you'll agree with me that that is a green icon with a white sort of speech bubble in the middle of it?
Yes, I believe.
And you know that when you click on that, it gives you a list of the text messages that you're exchanging with people, the various threads, correct?
Correct.
You know that if you click on a thread, it opens up the individual text messages that you've sent and received to that particular person, correct?
Correct.
And you know that if you take your finger or your thumb and you hold it on one particular text that's either sent to you or from you, you can do things with that individual text, correct?
Correct.
You can
You mean-
forward it to somebody else, right?
Correct, I believe.
In the context of a conversation, you can just reply to that one particular text message, right?
Correct.
And if you do that, rather than hit the arrow button where you forward or reply, on the left side of the screen, there's a trash can, correct?
I'm not sure.
You know that you can delete a text from a thread, correct?
Correct.
And it's a trash can that you
Oh.
click on, right?
Correct.
I'm not trying to trick you.
No, I was confused. Sorry.
No, I understand. I don't mean to confuse you. So you know that if you click on the trash can, it gives you an option to either cancel or to delete the message, correct?
Correct.
And what happens if you delete the message?
It's deleted off the phone.
Okay, so it's gone from that thread, correct?
Correct.
And somebody looking at a screenshot that you take after you've deleted that message, it wouldn't be evident that that message was ever there, correct?
Correct.
What did she
Now,
do?
You testified at a hearing in Boston on August 3rd of 2023, correct?
Correct.
That was, and we're not with a jury present, that was a federal grand jury, correct?
Correct.
And you had, by that point, by August of 2023, you no longer had the phone that you originally had on January 29th of 22, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
You had gotten a new phone in December of 2022, correct?
Okay, I'm not sure what time, but
Does that?
yeah, I got a new phone. I believe I got a new phone.
But, and actually, the timing is not that important, just that it was before that grand jury appearance.
Okay, yes.
All right. And what did you do with the old phone when you got the new phone?
Transfer through iCloud, everything transfers over.
Okay, but I'm actually talking about the hardware itself.
Oh, what did I
Everybody
do?
got his phones, it
Sorry, can you
seems.
repeat the question?
Yes, I'm sorry. Not the data on the phone. I understand that you've testified that you transferred that to the new phone, but the actual physical phone itself, where did that go when you got the new phone?
I'm not sure.
Would that have been traded in?
Possibly.
You don't have it now, correct?
I don't think, no.
And as of August of 2023, you didn't have it either, correct?
Correct.
Is it fair to say that no investigator from this case ever asked you for that phone that you had on January 29th?
Correct.
They
Right, so,
never-
Ms. Giannetti, can we just focus on the voir dire? All that you're doing, you can cross-examine her with, but on the voir dire of this.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just like to get the jurors back in.
No, I understand, Your Honor. I understand. I was trying to lay a foundation, but maybe it's not necessary. With regard to
If you need to do it, go ahead. I'm just trying to.
I want to accommodate the court, Your Honor. With regard to the messages that are in a given thread, right? We've talked about the fact that you are aware that you can reply to them, an individual message, forward or delete one, correct?
Correct.
You're also aware that it is possible to change the timestamp on any individual message, correct?
Hey, Carol.
No, I'm not aware of that.
You go to settings and you go to general and you go to date and time. First of all, you can change the time zone of the message. Do you have your iPhone with you right now?
Not on me.
Not on. And in addition to being able to change the time zone, you actually can change the hour and minute to whatever you want it to be.
Wow, I didn't know that.
No.
With regard to photos on your phone, you are aware that you can change the date and time of any photo in your photo app, correct?
Nope.
There is a little, when you go to your iPhone, there's a little I for information. And all you need to do is, or I think it's for info or information. All you need to do is click on that and you get a pop-up from the bottom that gives you the choice to alter the date and time. Did you know that?
No.
Next to that date and time is the word adjust, and that's all you have to click on. And you can change the time from 12:10 a.m., or you can change it from 12:40 a.m. to 12:10 a.m., or you can change it from 1:45 to 12:10 a.m. And it's that easy.
Yep. Now I know. I didn't know that. I didn't do that.
If I may have a moment.
Okay.
That's it for the one here.
Okay. So I'm going to allow this testimony, and your argument goes to the weight of the evidence, not its admissibility. But I did, under Commonwealth versus Tracci, want to give you your voir dire. Okay.
I don't have
All right.
an
So let's
iPhone,
bring
but
the
I
jurors
didn't know
back
that.
in.
That's interesting.
And Mr. Lally, I have an instruction to give if you're going to put in that screenshot.
Yes.
Okay. Jurors, remember, I've told you this before you consider any electronic communication in your deliberations, you must find first that it is more likely true than not that the person who authored or sent the communication was in fact either Colin Albert or Ms. Allie McCabe. If you do not find that it's more likely true than not that Ms. McCabe or Mr. Albert was the person who authored or created or transmitted the electronic communication, then you cannot consider that communication in your deliberations. So with that, Mr. Lally?
Thank you. And Your Honor, the first two pages that's been marked AA, Commonwealth would seek to introduce and admit as the next exhibit.
I didn't
Okay,
realize
those may be
that.
admitted.
Now, Ms. McCabe, with reference to, well, before we get into that, you had an iPhone at the time of January 20th, is that correct?
Correct.
And with respect to your friend Colin Alberts, as far as his contact information within your phone, who entered that in your phone?
I did.
And prior to that date of January 28th into the 29th of 2022, had you had phone conversations where you would sort of press the button to call that number and it rang, correct?
Correct.
And who, if anyone, answered the phone when you contacted that phone number in your phone?
Colin.
Now,
Give it a
with
try.
reference to Colin and the contact in your phone, had you had prior text communications with Colin using that contact that you put in?
Correct.
And outside of those text communications that you had, did you have sort of physical in-person conversations with Colin in regard to content that was within text messages you have with that content?
Yes, I assume so.
And specifically on that date of January 28th and the 29th, when you arrived at the home on Fairview Road, you texted Colin that you were there.
Yes.
And after you texted him that, what, if anything, happened after that?
He responded saying, okay. And then he came out to the car.
And Your Honor, if I may, with the court's permission, just publish the text communication to the jury on the screen.
Yes.
Now, what's up on the screen, Mr. McCabe, is that what you have before you as the exhibit?
Yes.
And looking at, there's sort of one side has text and one side has a blue bubble, is that correct?
Yes.
And if you know who is communicating with who as far as the sort of plain text outside of the bubble?
Colin and I? Is that what you're asking? Sorry.
What I'm asking is, who's the blue bubble?
Oh, sorry. I'm the blue bubble and he is the gray, whitish bubble.
And from sort of top of what's depicted on the screen, you read the text that you received and the time that you received.
Yes. 11:54. And then I responded at 11:55.
And what did Colin say at 11:50?
You can get me now if easier.
And what did you respond?
Okay, I am driving people home now.
And what did Colin respond to that, and what time did he respond?
Hey, Cindy.
He responded, word, get me after.
And if you could scroll down just a bit. And following the getting after, what if any response did you provide?
KK, okay, and here,
And here that you texted, what time does that read on the screenshot?
12:10 a.m.
And what if anything did Colin respond to the your text?
He responded at the same time saying, okay.
I'm assuming you can take that. May I approach this to retrieve your?
Yes.
Oops. Do you need that? Thank you. Okay, thank you.
So the next two pages, two separate pages, contain photographs, is that correct?
Yes,
And you recognize what's depicted in those photographs that I've just placed before you?
yes.
What do you recognize those?
It's Colin. Is that what you're asking?
Well, let me ask you more specifically.
Okay.
So, were these also screenshots that you provided to troopers of the state police in August of 2020?
Yes, I believe so.
What, in regard to those two photographs, do you know when and where those photographs were taken?
They were taken February 11th at the Alberts, Nicole and Brian's house.
Objection. Move to strike.
No, I'm going to let her testify when they were taken.
And so February 11th of what year now?
2022.
So a few weeks after January 28th, 29th, correct?
Yes,
And were you present at the Alberts house on the evening of February 11th when they were taken?
yes.
And what was the purpose of yourself and or Colin or anybody being over the Alberts house on that day?
One of Nicole and Brian's sons were coming home from their Marines. So there was like a welcome home party with family and friends.
And that is your cousin Jack, is that correct?
Correct.
And as far as what's contained in those photographs, is that a fair and accurate portrayal as far as your memory of what Colin looked like on February 11th?
Correct.
And Your Honor, may I approach again?
Yes.
Almost to introduce in a minute the next two exhibits.
Not yet.
Again, subject to our discussion.
Sure. Okay. Yes, those are clear.
And do you recognize what's now up on the screen is what you have before you as Exhibit 82?
Yes.
And if you could just describe to the jury sort of what we're looking at in this photograph, who's depicted?
Colin and my auntie Coco.
And your auntie Coco is also Nicole Albert,
Yeah. Yes, Nicole.
And if I could direct your attention to the next exhibit for you, Exhibit 83. I'm going to keep that up on the screen. And just go in if you could. And again, what's up on the screen, is that what you have before you as Exhibit 83?
Yes.
This is the same evening, is that correct?
Correct.
Do you know where in the house this photograph was taken?
I believe they call it their library. Maybe it's the room in the back.
And as far as what's contained in this photograph in reference to your friend Colin Albert, as far as his face, his arms, his hands, is that fair and accurate portrayal of what he looked like on February 11th?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Right.
Cianetti?
Thank you.
I hear the cops there get quite the overtime.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ms. McCabe, you have known Colin Albert your whole life, correct?
Correct.
Your mother is Jennifer McCabe.
Correct.
His mother is Julie Albert,
Correct.
and her maiden name was Julie Daniel.
Correct.
Your mother, Jennifer, grew up together with his mother, Julie, correct?
Correct.
You and Colin are extremely close, correct?
Yes.
In fact, you would consider Colin Albert to be one of your best friends in the world, correct?
Yes, he's one of my best friends.
Now, you claim that you took a screenshot of a text conversation that you had with Colin Albert on January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
Those were the screenshots that were just shown to this jury this afternoon, correct?
Correct.
And you claim that the information on that screenshot actually existed on January 29th, correct?
Correct.
Did you tell your mother, Jennifer McCabe, that you had that text conversation with Colin Albert anytime after January 29th of 2022?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you give to your mother, Jennifer McCabe, a screenshot of that text message conversation?
Objection.
Sustained.
It's fair to say that on January 29th, 30th, 31st, you did not turn over that screenshot to any law enforcement official, correct, of 2022?
No, I was never asked.
No investigator from this case ever asked you for copies or a copy of that screenshot of that text message conversation on January 29th, 30th, or 31st, correct?
Correct.
They also did not ask you for a copy of that screenshot through the whole month of February, correct?
Correct.
In fact, all of 2022, no investigator ever approached you to say, can I have a copy of that screenshot, correct?
Correct.
And in addition to that, you never called an investigator to say, hey, I have a copy of a screenshot of a text message conversation that I had with Colin Albert, correct?
No, it wouldn't have been relevant at that time,
Okay.
I believe, because Colin was not at the house and wasn't introduced as being there until later.
So your testimony today is that at no time in the year 2022 did you consider it relevant at all that you had this screenshot of this text conversation, correct?
Correct.
Leaving that screenshot aside, but actually, before I leave that topic, you didn't turn over that screenshot of a text message until sometime during the summer of 2023, correct?
Correct.
About a year and a half or more after January 29th of 2022, correct?
Yes, when I was asked.
And by that time, the summer of 2023, you had already switched phones, correct?
Yes, I believe.
In other words, the iPhone that you had on January 29th of 2022, you no longer had possession of that physical phone, correct?
Correct.
You had a new iPhone, correct?
Correct.
And you say that you transferred over the data from the old phone to the new phone, correct?
Correct.
When did you take that screenshot that was displayed to the jury today?
I don't remember.
Was it before or after you got rid of your old phone?
I don't remember.
So we don't know if that screenshot was from your phone that you got in December of 2022, or if it was from the phone that you had back in January of 2022, correct?
Correct.
That phone that you got in December of 2022, it's now May of 2024. Do you still have that same phone?
The phone, my old phone? Is that?
No, my question was, and again, I'm not trying to trick you in any way here. The phone that you got in December of 2022, the new phone at that time, is that the phone, your current phone?
Correct.
Now, before you got rid of the old phone and got the new one, did any law enforcement official, prior to that December of 2022 time period, or investigator from this case ever ask to examine your physical phone itself?
No.
Did they ever say to you, we would like to do what's called an extraction on your phone?
No.
And you never gave that phone at any point to any law enforcement official before you got rid of it, correct?
Correct.
And the first time that you mentioned that text conversation outside your family was August 3rd of 2023, correct?
Correct.
That was at a proceeding in Boston, correct?
Correct.
Where neither Mr. Lally or Ms. McLaughlin agree with it.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, move along, Mr. Yannetti.
Yes. That proceeding in August of 2023 was less than a year ago, correct? We're in May of 2024?
Correct.
And that was a long time after John O'Keefe was found dead on Brian Albert's lawn, correct?
Correct.
And that August of 2023, when you're revealing that text exchange, that was over a year and a half after January 29th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
And leaving aside the screenshot, as of August 3rd of 2023, no investigator from this case, no state police trooper or anybody from the DA's office had ever interviewed you, right? Prior to August of 2023?
I talked to
Interesting.
the state troopers, but I don't know if that was before or after.
That was on August 25th of 2023, which is about 3 weeks after your testimony in the other proceeding. Does that refresh your memory?
Yes, then after.
And
Yeah.
at that point in time, on August 25th of 2023, you'll agree with me that you were not interviewed at a police station or a state police barracks, correct?
Correct.
Or the DA's office, correct?
Correct.
You were interviewed by Zoom, correct?
Correct.
And you were not alone at that time in your home, correct?
I'm not sure.
Your mother, Jennifer McCabe, was present, correct?
Okay.
True.
And she was monitoring what was going on in that interview, correct?
Objection.
Was that true?
I don't recall.
Okay. In any case, that too was over a year and a half after January 29th, correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, I'd like to ask you some questions about, oh, by the way, you've had an iPhone since you were 12 or 13 years old.
Correct.
And you're now how old?
20.
So 7 or 8 years would be a good estimate as to how long you've worked with iPhones?
Correct.
And obviously you know how an iPhone works, correct?
Correct.
You know how to reply and comment on text messages, correct?
Correct.
We should have had a correct
And
counter
you know that there's
for today.
a lot of tools open to you to comment on text messages, correct?
Correct.
You can reply to a text using an icon or an emoji, right? To like or dislike something that somebody else said.
Correct.
You can laugh at it, you can love it, you can like it, correct?
Objection.
Interesting.
Right?
Correct.
And they make it pretty easy, right? All you need to do is put your finger or your thumb on a specific message and hold it down and options appear, correct?
Correct.
And that's where you get the thumbs up, the thumbs down, the ha-ha, exclamation points, question mark, etc.
Correct.
And you also have other options, which is down the bottom, there's a kind of a curved arrow where if you click on that, you can forward the message or reply to a specific message, correct?
Correct.
And on the left, there's a trash can, right?
Correct.
And what happens when you click on the trash can?
It will delete the message from your phone.
And it's your testimony that with regard to the screenshot that we saw, there are no deleted messages in that conversation, correct?
Yes.
However, you would agree, as you've already testified, that if a message had been deleted from a screenshot, we'd never know, right?
True.
You're also familiar with the apps that are on iPhones, correct?
Correct.
You have a number of apps on your iPhone, right?
Correct.
There might be 12 or 15, I haven't counted them, but 12 or 15 maybe on your home screen, right?
Correct.
And if you swipe to the left, you get another new population of 12 or 15.
Correct.
Not bad for an old guy.
Yeah.
You use apps like Instagram.
Correct.
Snapchat is a popular app.
Correct.
And probably to your detriment, but Life 360.
Correct.
All right. That's been an app in the McCabe family for a number of years, right?
Correct. Yes.
And it's in your family anyway, and probably in a lot of families, it's mainly used for the parents to keep track of their kids, right?
Correct.
And in order for Life 360 to work, you have to have your location services on, and somebody else has to have the app and is in the family, correct? Connected to you?
Correct.
And with regard to, just going back to the messages for a minute, do you know the difference between an iMessage and a text message?
Yes, I believe one's blue and one's green.
Oh, the screenshots that we saw of your text conversation that you say that you had with Colin Albert, you were in blue, right?
Correct.
That means that Colin Albert also had an iPhone at the time, correct?
Correct.
Now, with regard to the timestamp on those messages, the conversation about I'm here, I believe gave the time 12:10 a.m., correct?
Correct.
Are you aware how easy it is to change that time?
No.
Are you aware that all you need to do is go from settings to general, and then there's a date and time that you can alter?
Objection.
Are you aware of that?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
You know that when you set up your iPhone, you have to choose a time zone, correct?
Correct.
And you always choose the New York time zone because that's where Boston is, right?
Correct.
Are you aware that if you go into settings, general, and then date and time, you can change the time zone to wherever you're going?
I guess I didn't. But once I set my phone up, I have no reason to change the time.
Let's see. And in addition to changing the time zone, you
Oh, I heard that,
literally
Steve.
can choose any time that you want. You could make 1:45 a.m., 12:10 a.m. in about 3 seconds. Did you know
Objection.
that?
Do you know that? Do you know that?
No.
But if I'm not accusing you of this now, but if you had changed the time on that from a screenshot, we'd have no way of knowing, correct?
I guess.
Because what a screenshot ultimately becomes is like a photo, correct?
Correct.
It's not like you can edit it, right? I mean, the most that you can do is what we saw on the other photo that was displayed, which is kind of crossing out with a magic marker somebody's face or a time, right? That would be how you'd have to alter it, right?
Correct.
Now, I had asked you if prior to getting rid of your old phone and getting the new one, if law enforcement ever asked you to, go through the phone themselves, and you had said no, right?
Yes, they did not do that.
And they never asked to do an extraction on the old phone, correct?
No.
What about the new phone that you now have that you got in December? Have the state police ever asked to do, have they ever asked to look through that phone?
They look, no, I don't think so.
You provided the screenshot that was shown to the jury today on August 25th when you talked to the state police in this case, right, of 2023?
Correct.
And when you provided them that screenshot, did they say, hey, by the way, can I look at your phone to see if it's on there?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Did they say that to you?
I don't remember.
But in any case, you never physically showed them your phone, right?
No,
You don't recall clicking on that text message app, the green app with the kind of white speech bubble. You didn't click on that and then click on the Colin Albert conversation and say, here it is, did you?
no,
And in addition to not asking you to see your new phone, they also did not ask you to do an extraction of your new phone, correct?
correct.
And at some point in time, you realized that you'd have to be a witness in this case and have the unfortunate incident of having to talk to me, right?
Objection.
I'm going to see Counselor Tybart for just a minute on this.
Interesting.
Okay, and just to wrap this up, to this day, no extraction has been done on your phone, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you had that Zoom interview on August 25th, you told the trooper that you drove Colin straight to his house after you picked him up on January 29th, and then you went straight home, correct?
Yes, I believe.
And you have previously testified back in August of 2023 that you believe you dropped Colin Albert off at his home at around 12:15, 12:20 or so?
Correct.
And when you left, by the way, you're very familiar with 34 Fairview, right?
Correct.
That's family, correct?
Correct.
Been over there many, many, many times, correct?
Correct.
Hello,
And you're
Kimbers. Good
familiar
morning.
with the neighborhood in terms of the streets that are around there, right?
Correct.
And you've lived in Canton your whole life? I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
When you were a baby, you were in Stoughton?
Yes.
Basically, you're a Canton girl, right?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury the route that you took home from 34 Fairview, or actually strike that, the route that you took to Colin Albert's house when you left 34 Fairview on January 29th?
I don't remember specifically, but I would believe I drove up Fairview. Then, sorry, I don't know the streets.
If I suggested to you that the street closest to 34 Fairview was Cedar Crest and the one on
She's
the other side was
person of the
Chapman.
year, though,
Does that refresh your
Constance.
memory?
Yeah, so Chapman.
Okay,
Person
so
of
you
the
went
year.
up and gone to Chapman and taken a right or a left?
I'm really bad with directions. When I got there, I went to the center of town, his house. I don't know specifically which way. I'm trying to think of it. I can't picture it.
Yes.
Are you familiar with Washington Street in Canton?
Yes.
Would you have wound up on Washington Street?
Yes.
All right. And you're aware that the Canton Library is on the corner of Washington and Sherman Street? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you would have passed by the library?
Yes.
Now, with regard to whether you went straight home, did you, by the way, when you went home, did you stay there?
Yes, I believe so.
For in the rest of the night?
Yes.
Okay, and what time do you say that you arrived at home?
I'm not sure. Before around 12:30ish.
Okay.
Why do I feel like
With
this isn't
regard
true?
to Life 360, would you agree with me that if you go on that app and you're trying to figure out where somebody in your family is, there's and let's say you want to know if somebody's home. There's like a circle that surrounds your home, correct?
Yes.
So once you enter that circle, you know that Life 360 gives an alert that said you arrived at home. Even though you're physically not walking in the door, you're within that circle, and that's the home circle, right?
Yes.
On January 29th of 2022, at 12:04 and 53 seconds, you arrived within that home circle, correct?
Correct.
And then at 12:06 and 55 seconds on January 29th, you left that home circle, correct?
Correct.
And then on January 29th of 2022 at 12:23 and 14 seconds, you completed a 7-mile drive where your top speed was 42 miles an hour. Does that make sense?
Correct.
And then you left home on January 29th of 2022 at 12:23 and 14 seconds as well. And what that probably means, reading between the lines, is that you entered that home circle, but then you didn't go home. You went through the home circle and completed a 7-mile drive somewhere, right?
I guess I thought I went home. I'm not.
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your answer.
I believe I went home. I
Okay.
was completing my drive at my house.
All right, but
Ruh-roh.
at 12:26 a.m. on January 29th, you left home again, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
Did you leave home?
I don't know. I don't remember.
All right. And at 12:26 a.m. and 12 seconds, you arrived at the Canton High School, correct?
No.
On January 29th of 2022, at 12:26 and 55 seconds, you completed a 1-mile drive where your top speed was 43 miles per hour, right?
I don't believe so.
And then at 12:26 and 55 seconds on January 29th, you left Canton High School and arrived at home on January 29th of 2022 at 12:29 and 28 seconds, correct?
I do not know.
And then after arriving home again on January 29th of 2022 at 12:29 and 29 seconds, you completed a 12-mile drive on January 29th of 2022 at 12:31 and 22 seconds. Did you not?
No.
And then you left home on January 29th of 2022 at 1:08 and 15 seconds, right?
I don't believe so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And ultimately, you went through the home bubble and the Canton High School bubble, and you arrived at Canton High School on January 29th of 2022 at 1:28 in the morning and 8 seconds.
Can I see what you're referring to?
Sure.
Well, y'all, that is definitely Jen's daughter.
May I approach you on?
Yes.
You probably don't read these, right?
No, I'm good.
Okay, and to make it easy, I mean, you can read the whole thing, but where it says
She driving around a bunch?
record 16 is what I just asked you about, but feel free to read the whole thing.
Thank you.
And if you would, read it silently to yourself and look up at me when you're done.
I think she was at the
Did
high
that
school
help
at
refresh your
12:31.
memory on where you were that night?
No.
Do you still dispute that you went straight home and didn't leave there?
Objection.
Sustained.
And finally, I just asked you about arriving at Canton High School on January 29th of 2022 at 1:28 and 8 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. High school
You
was
arrived at home, within that home bubble, on January 29th of 2022 at 1:30 in the morning and 26 seconds, correct?
What time did it say I arrived at high school?
1:30 in the morning and 26 seconds.
And what time did it say I arrived at high school?
The high school was 1:28 and 8 seconds.
It wouldn't have taken me 2 minutes to go from the high school to my house. I'm
Well,
confused.
with regard to the high school was also one of the bubbles, one of the areas where you could be, right, on Life 360?
No.
If I may.
Yes.
Okay. Did you say that on Life 360, the Canton High School is not one of the areas that you're tracked in?
What do you mean?
So do you remember we were talking earlier about?
Oh, like put in a location, like that was
Yeah, so there
home,
were
that was
multiple
high school.
locations, like, if your mother's looking for you, where are you?
Yes,
Well, you're at D&E Pizza, you're at high school, you're at, home, right? I mean, those could be categories.
correct,
You've agreed that home was one of the categories.
correct.
And having reviewed that, the Canton High School is also in one of the categories, correct?
I believe so.
And on January 29th of 2022, the last entry is that you completed a 12-mile drive on January 29th of 2022 at 1:32 in the morning and 23 seconds. And that's the end of the activity. Do you agree with me that that's when you finally stopped that night?
I don't recall.
If I may have a moment?
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you, Ron.
All right, Mr. Lally.
Thank you.
So what was she doing then? Was she buying drugs at the high school?
Now, Ms. McCabe,
Why else would you hang out there? It's weird.
with regard to, did you get rid of your prior iPhone or did you upgrade your iPhone?
Upgrade.
And that would have been in December of 2022, is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Was it sometime around Christmas?
Yeah, probably.
And that could have been a present as far as getting a new iPhone or upgrading your iPhone?
Yes.
Now, as far as any of the information that you were shown as far as the screenshot, did you in any way, shape, or form alter or delete any of the content within that text message from January 28th and the 29th of with Colin?
No.
And with reference to changing times or time zones or anything on text messages before Mr. Yannetti asked you any of those questions, were you aware of any of those things as things that you could do with your phone?
No.
With regard to Life 360, what, if any, knowledge do you have as far as the accuracy of sort of the timestamps that are contained within that app?
Well, I'm not sure, but on the photo he showed me, it says like turn Wi-Fi on. So that like remind Allie to turn Wi-Fi on. So that could have affected the accuracy.
And that was on literally every single one of the alerts that was on that page that he showed you.
Every single one.
Now, Canton High School, do you know what street that's on?
Washington Street, I believe.
And
Yeah.
about how far a ride is it from Canton High School to your house?
7-8 minutes, 10. I'm not sure.
You were in the bubble of Canton High School at 1:28 in the morning. Could you have possibly been in the bubble of your home at 1:30 in the morning?
No.
And unless you were going 90 miles an hour in a snowstorm?
No.
Now, you were asked some questions about that time frame of August of 2023 when you were asked and you turned over sort of screenshots to troopers from the state police, correct?
Correct.
You were asked about previous times indicating that you weren't asked and it wasn't relevant, correct?
Correct.
Now, do you know why you were asked in August of 2023 versus any prior time period?
Because Colin Albert wasn't in the house, and then it was brought up here that he was.
And brought up where?
By the defense.
And around that time of August 2023?
I believe so. Yes.
And with reference to relevancy, is that what you were talking about?
Correct.
And what, if anything else, you're close friends with Colin Albert, is that correct?
Correct.
What, if anything else, has either your family or Colin Albert and his family undergone over the course of pendency of this case?
Objection.
No, the door's been opened. I'm allowing it.
Well, basically harassment.
Harassment by whom?
Bloggers, people online.
And what, if anything, in relation to Colin Albert being in the house has occurred as far as the harassment that you're talking about?
Can you rephrase?
With reference to what you were talking about as far as the relevancy of Colin Albert being in the house at that time, what, if any, harassment was there in relation to that and in relation to Colin?
Well,
Objection.
No, go ahead. She can answer.
Colin wasn't at the house, so he's being harassed for he was not at the house when John was there, so I drove him home. So the people are harassing him saying
I
he
didn't
was
think
at the
so.
house when it's not true.
When you speak about harassment, what specifically type of harassment?
Constant phone calls, emails, awful messages.
Objection.
I'll allow it. Focus on this witness, not Colin Albert.
As far as you and your family, what, if any, type of harassment have you received?
People showing up at our house, people emailing my school, just like a lot of harassment. Can I have a moment, please?
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have some, thank you.
And how long a period of time has that persisted for?
Very long time.
Thank you. I have no further.
I have nothing further.
All right, Ms. McCabe, you're all set.
Thank you.
Your next witness, Mr. Lally.
Yes, Ron. Call Colin Albert to the stand.
Oh, dang, I missed it.
Morning.
Yes, good morning, babe. All right, I'll
Morning.
Beats here and he is awake. Hold on, let me get Colin Albert up on the screen because that's who we're gonna watch next. Where did he go? Hello, everybody watching today. Thank you for joining us. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. That lets people know where the party is, which is here. All right, there's Colin. Got him all squared away. Okay. And there we go. All right, we did it.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Lally.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
Could you please state your name and spell your last name?
Colin Albert, Albert.
And where do you live, sir?
Canton, Mass.
And how long have you lived in Canada?
My whole life.
And who, if anyone, do you live in Canada?
I live with my mother, my father, and my two brothers,
And your mother and your father, what are their names?
Julie and Chris Albert.
And your brothers, what are their names?
Chris and Dylan Albert.
And as far as within the age of you and your two brothers, where do you fall in that?
I am the middle child.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 20 years old.
And do you work? Do you go to school?
I go to school at Bridgewater State.
And what year are you in?
I am going into my junior year.
Now, sir, if I could turn your attention to
can't
January
believe you won
28th through January 29th of 2022. Recall those days?
Yes.
Do you recall what days of the week they were?
I do not.
Do you recall whether it was a weekday, weekend?
Weekend.
And turning your attention to the evening of January 28th, do you recall where you went that night?
Yes, I do.
And just to be clear, around that time, were you
Sure.
in college? Were you in high school? What grade were you in?
I was a senior in high school.
So end of January, you would have been about 4 months away or so from graduation, correct?
Yes, sir.
And on that evening, where did you, at some point, did you leave your home and go out?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall about what time it was that you went out?
I do not remember.
Do you recall whether it was light or dark when you went out?
It was dark.
And where did you, upon leaving your house, where did you go?
I went to one of my buddy's houses.
And that buddy, what was his,
Mike.
and where does Mike live in relation to you?
Can you rephrase that?
Does Mike live in Canton as well?
Yes, he does.
About how far is it from your house to Mike's house?
About like 7-8 minutes.
It's weird that they know
And
to
when
say,
got to
can you
Mike's house,
rephrase that?
Was it just you and Mike, or
That's weird
if
to me.
anyone else was there?
Is it weird to you guys?
I do not remember who was there.
Was there more than just the two of you?
Yes.
And generally speaking, when you got to Mike's house, what is it that you did when you got there?
I do not remember.
Now, as far as how you got from your house to Mike's house, do you recall how you got there?
No, I do not remember.
Let me ask you this. Did you walk? Did you drive? Did you get a ride?
Remembers
I got a ride.
Do you recall who you got a ride from?
No.
And when you, do you recall, let me ask you this, as far as that particular night that you went out, did you drink any alcoholic beverages while you were out?
Yes.
And did you drink any of those at Mike's house?
Yes.
And do you recall generally what you were drinking that night?
Bud Light.
And when you were at Mike's house on that particular evening, do you recall about how long you were there for?
A few hours.
And do you recall how much you had to drink while you were at Mike's house?
I do not remember.
And so in reference to you going out and going over Mike's house and having some beers over there, is that why you didn't drive?
Yes.
So you got a ride from someone over to Mike's house, you spent some hours there, and then do you recall where you went from there?
I went to my uncle's house.
And fair to say you have a relatively large extended family within Canton, is that correct?
Yes.
And so when you say you went to your uncle's house, which uncle's house did you go to?
My Uncle Brian.
And that would be same last name as yourself, so Brian Albert.
Yes.
And how is he your uncle? Sort of how is he related to you?
He is my father's brother.
And why did you go to your uncle's house that night?
It was my cousin Brian's birthday, so I went over to celebrate for a little bit with him.
And so that would be Brian Albert Jr., is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you know how old your cousin Brian Albert Jr. was turning on that night?
I do not know.
When do you recall how you got from Mike's house to your uncle's house?
I believe Allie McCabe.
And do you know the address as far as your uncle's house?
34 Fairview Road.
Is that somewhere, your family's house, is that somewhere that you had been before?
Yes.
And so your memory is that Allie McCabe gave you a ride from Mike's house to the house on Fairview?
From what I remember, yes.
Now, Allie McCabe, as far as who is that to you? Or what, if any, kind of relationship you have with Allie McCabe?
It is my cousin's cousin. So not technically my cousin, but we're close and like we do family events and stuff like that together.
They keep bringing that up.
And Miss McCabe, are you in the same grade?
Yes.
Weird.
And how long have you known each
My whole entire life.
other? So not blood related, but someone that you see at family events.
Yes.
And someone that was in the same grade and went to the same school as you.
Correct.
And that school, which school did you go to at that time?
Canton High School.
And do you recall about what time it was that you arrived at the house on Fairview?
Between 10:30 and 11 at night.
And did you have at that time any kind of curfew or time that you had to be home from your parents?
Usually around like right around before midnight.
And so was it like a hard fast, like 12 o'clock? If you're not here, you're grounded, or was it sort of around that time?
Just around midnight.
And so after, when you arrive there, you go into the house, is that right?
Yes.
And the house at 34 Fairview has a couple of different ways to get in the house in the front, is that correct?
Correct.
And do you recall which way that you went in that evening?
The side door near the garage.
And when you come into the house, where did you go within the house? What room did you go into?
The living room.
And then from the living room, where else did you go within the house?
Like the kitchen area.
And within the kitchen area of the house, who, if anyone else, was present in the kitchen?
From what I remember, my cousin Brian, Emily Fabiano, Sarah Levinson, and Catherine Duty, from what I remember that night.
Is it possible there were other people there that you just don't recall?
Yes.
And where were they situated, sort of in the kitchen, dining room area?
Like sitting around the kitchen table, I would say.
I seem to forget a lot.
After you arrived there, well, when you arrived there, what is it that they were doing when you walked in?
Just listening to music and having a couple of drinks.
And you come in, you greet people, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, the other people that you talked about, as far as beyond your cousin Brian Albert Jr., did you know those other people?
I knew of them. I wasn't friends with them or anything.
Fair to say they were older than you were, is that correct?
Correct.
So like Miss Levinson would have been older than you by at least a few years at that point.
Yes.
And same with reference to, I believe you said Miss Fabiano and Miss Duty, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, when you arrived at the house, did you have any other drinks once you got there?
Yes.
And do you recall what, if anything, you drank once you got
Bud Light.
there? The same as you were having before?
Correct.
You know how many that you had while you were at 34 Fairview?
I do not remember.
I'm going to go with
And
a
over
lot.
the course of the evening, whether it was at Mike's house or in between, or when you got to 34 Fairview, did you feel yourself as far as like overly intoxicated or drunk or anything like that?
No.
And as far as the other people that you observed at the house that
Could
night,
be.
does anybody stick out to you as being overly intoxicated or fall down drunk or anything like that?
No.
Now, with reference to when you came into the house, you mentioned there was music playing. How would you describe sort of the general mood within the house?
It was happy. It was, yeah.
Now, as far as that area where you first observed the people around the table in the kitchen dining room area when you came in, did you ever see anybody else go anywhere else in the house?
Not that I remember.
Did you yourself go anywhere else in the house?
No.
At any point in time in the evening while you were there, did you go upstairs or downstairs in the basement or out in the backyard or anywhere else besides the kitchen dining room area?
No.
Beyond maybe the restroom at some point?
Yeah. Other than that, no.
And about how long were you at your uncle's house that night to celebrate your cousin's birthday?
Probably around like an hour and a half.
And so about what time would it have been that you left?
12:10.
And with respect to your leaving the house, who, if anyone, did you contact to facilitate?
Rephrase.
Let me ask it in a much easier, better way. Okay. As far as your plans were concerned, as far as leaving the house, who, if anyone, did you reach out to get a ride from the house?
My friend Allie McCabe.
And how did you reach out to her?
I texted her.
And do you recall whether or not you had any sort of other communication? Well, let me step back and ask you this way. At that point in time, in January of 2022, you had Ms. McCabe's information saved as a contact in your phone, is that correct?
Correct.
And on prior occasions, had you had a chance to, call that number from your cell phone that you had programmed in as Allie McCabe?
Correct.
And when you called that number, who, if anyone, answered the phone?
Allie.
Now, with respect to text communications, had you had text communications with that contact in your phone as Allie McCabe prior to that date of January 28th?
Yes.
I do like rum.
When you had those conversations, did you then also have subsequent sort of in-person conversations with Allie McCabe as well?
Yes.
And during those in-person conversations, was there any reference or anything talked about content that had been previously sent and communicated via text?
No.
Let me ask it in a better way. So you would have text communications with the person you put in as a contact as Allie McCabe, correct?
Yes.
And then subsequent to having those text communications, you would then speak to her either in person or over the phone, correct?
Objection.
The objection is sustained. Watch the form of your questions.
Following those text communications with the person that you had input in your phone, what, if any, verbal conversations would you have in reference to the content of the text?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Did you talk to her in person about something you had talked to her about in text?
No.
Now, with reference,
He doesn't seem to
on that
remember
specific date of January
anything.
28th, was text communications the only means by which you communicated with Allie McCabe?
From what I remember, yeah.
And were there other means by which you would typically communicate with her?
If she wasn't answering a text, I'd give her a call. Yeah.
And were there apps or anything like that on your phone that you would communicate with her as well?
Snapchat sometimes.
Now, with respect to Snapchat and your family, specifically your cousins, what, if any, sort of group Snapchat chains were there with respect to your family?
Yes.
And specifically, who were those sort of group Snapchat chains? Who was included within it?
I have a Snapchat group chat with my cousins.
And you have cousins on basically your father's side and your mother's side, correct?
Not on my mother's side, no.
You have no cousins on your mother's side?
No.
And with respect to the cousins on your father's side, would it be all of your cousins that were included within that?
Not all of them, no.
And so who of your cousins would be included on those kind of group Snapchat chains?
My older brother, Chris, my younger brother, Dylan, my cousin, Kevin, Brian, Brendan, Caitlin, Kayla, and I believe that is it.
And if you recall, was there any communication on that group Snapchat chain in regard to Brian Jr.'s birthday on that date of January 28th or 29th?
No, not that I remember.
Now, with respect, so you reach out to Ms. McCabe via text, is that correct?
Yes.
And she agrees to pick you up?
Yes.
And at some point, are you made aware that she's at the home?
Yes.
And how is it that she makes you aware that she's at the home?
I got a text message from her that says I'm here.
And at any point in time while you were in the home, did Ms. McCabe come inside the home?
No.
And so after you received that text message from Ms. McCabe, did you respond?
Yes.
And do you recall what you responded?
Come in.
And from that communication, after you sent that, about how long was it between the time that you sent that and the time that you came out?
Between 30 seconds and a minute, I'd say.
And when you came out of the house, do you recall which door you came out at that point?
The side door next to the garage.
And when you came out that door, who, if anyone, did you encounter as you were coming out?
As I was walking out, I saw my Uncle Brian and my Aunt Nicole.
And you were going out, and what were they doing?
They were coming in.
And in addition to your Uncle Brian and your Aunt Nicole, was there anybody else that you recall that was with them when they came into the house?
No, not that I remember.
And what, if any, exchange did you have with your uncle and your aunt as you were going out and they were coming?
I just said, I'm going home. My mom wants me home. I love you guys. Bye.
Right.
And
I just learned that last
outside
week.
The house, is that correct?
Correct.
And did you see Ms. McCabe outside?
Yes.
And where was she where was her vehicle in relation to the house?
In the driveway.
Now, do you recall what type of vehicle Ms. McCabe was driving on that particular night or had at that time?
I believe it was the blue Ford that they had.
And was that a sedan? Was that an SUV? What type of vehicle?
A sedan.
And so you come out, that's in the driveway, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall whether or not it was parked on the left side or the right side of the driveway?
I do not remember.
And you get into the vehicle. Which part of the vehicle did you get into?
That I do not remember.
Front seat, passenger side. Does that sound right?
Could have been that, yeah.
Do you recall whether or not there was anybody else in the vehicle at the time that you got in?
I do not remember that.
Do you recall whether or not there was anybody else in the vehicle at the time that she had dropped you off at that location?
I do not remember that either.
Now, as far as the coming outside of the house,
I don't know.
take note of anything as far as the weather or what was going on with that when you came outside?
Pretty sure it just started snowing at that time, around that time.
So the snow had just begun. Do you recall whether or not it was sticking or accumulating on the ground at that time?
I do not remember, no.
Now,
Everybody got new phones.
you get into the car, and where did you go?
She drove me right home.
So no stops along the way, just straight from Fairview to your house.
Correct.
And about how long a drive is it?
Anywhere between 5-10 minutes.
Now, as you were outside of the house walking to the car, and after the car sort of backs out of the driveway and leaves, did you observe anything abnormal or unusual outside of your uncle's house that night?
No,
Did you observe any other cars outside at that time?
not that I remember.
Now, Allie has a mother and a father, and you're familiar with them, is that correct?
Correct.
And And what are their names?
Jennifer and Matt.
Same last name as McCabe.
Yes.
And are you familiar with what types of vehicles they have?
Yes.
And when you came out of the house and got into Allie's Ford sedan, did you see any vehicle you would associate with either Jennifer or Matthew McCabe at the house at that time?
No.
And so you drive home and you go to your house without the address. Whereabouts within the town of Canton were you living at that point?
It's right in the center of Canton near the Seasons gas station.
And is that a single-family house or a multi-family house? What is it?
It is a condominium.
And when Mr. McCabe pulls in and parks, you get out, correct?
Yes.
And so in order to get into the building, in order to get into your home, how is it that you get into your home when you get to the condo?
There's a door around back that I go into, and I gotta either have a key or they buzz me in, but I usually have a key, and I gotta go up 3 flights of stairs, and then we're at the top level in the condominium.
And so you have to get sort of into the building before you can get into your own unit.
Correct.
And did you notice whether or not Ms. McCabe was still there as you were, excuse me. Did you notice whether or not Ms. McCabe was still out there parked when you opened the door with the key?
That I do not remember.
And you get into the condo, or you get into your home, and who, if anyone, was living with you at that time?
My parents and my little brother
Your older brother, where was he?
in San Diego.
He was in service, is that correct?
Correct.
And as far as your brother, your little brother, and your father and your mother, were they home when you got home?
Yes.
And how do you know?
Because I remember my parents being up in their bedroom that night.
Is there any sort of rule or sort of,
No.
for lack of a better term, like protocol as far as when you come home, where do you go sort of first thing when you walk in?
I always tell my mom and my dad that I'm home, and usually go up to their bedroom, give them a hug goodnight, tell them I love them, and then go down to bed.
Do
Interesting.
that on that occasion?
Yes.
So sort of immediately when you come home, you go right up to your parents' room?
Yes.
And when you got up to your parents' room on that particular evening, was both your mother and your father in their room?
Correct.
And you had that sort of exchange that you described before?
Yes.
And so your bedroom is then located downstairs from where your parents' bedroom is?
Yes.
And if you know about what time was it that you came into the house?
I want to say around 12:20.
And fair to say this is 2.5 years ago and you weren't exactly looking at your watch when you came in, is that right?
Exactly. Yes.
And as far as being home or having that curfew around midnight or so, did you get in trouble for being late that night?
No.
Objection.
I'll sustain the objection. I'll strike that.
Now,
His parents were at the bar, but they weren't at the house,
place
right?
that you were living at that point in the condo, how long had you been living
Were they not there?
That I do not remember.
there? Did you live somewhere else in Canton prior to?
Yes.
Where was it that you lived?
7 Meadows Ave.
And how long did you live at 7 Meadows?
My whole entire life before moving to that condo.
And so all I'm sort of trying to ascertain here is, so from the time of January 28, 29, 2022, was it a long time, short time, months, weeks, years? How long had you been living at the condo?
Short time. I'd say a couple months.
And so prior to that couple of months, you had lived your whole life at 7 Meadows Ave, correct?
Correct.
And that was a single-family house, is that correct?
Yes.
And with respect to living on Meadows Ave, did you know people that lived on your street growing up?
Ugh,
Yes.
I don't know.
And at some point while you were living there, did you come to know someone by the name of John O'Keefe?
Okay.
Yes.
And how did you know Mr. O'Keefe?
He lived at the top of our street.
So how many houses, if you know, were sort of in between your house and Mr. O'Keefe's?
2.
And
Oh.
do you know how long that Mr. O'Keefe had been living on that street?
I do not know.
And how did you know him, sort of, if you could describe sort of your relationship with your neighbor, Mr. O'Keefe?
I knew him because I knew that my parents were friendly with him. And I knew he lived at the top of our street. That's how I knew him.
And were you aware who, if anyone, lived at the house with Mr. O'Keefe?
I know his two kids that he brought in, adopted, lived there, and I'm not sure who else.
And that would have been his niece and his nephew that he adopted, correct?
Correct.
And where were they in relation to you as far as age is concerned?
A lot younger. I don't know the exact age difference, but
So you were in high school, they would have been some grade far below.
yes.
Now, as far as your relationship with Mr. O'Keefe, your neighbor, about how often would it be that you would see him?
Not often. I'd drive by every now and then. He'd be outside and I would wave. He'd wave back. That was pretty much it.
And during the time that you lived on Meadows Ave or a couple months subsequent to that, is there ever any animosity or any sort of arguments or anything that you would ever had with Mr. O'Keefe?
Never.
And how would you describe Mr. O'Keefe from your perspective as far as how would you describe him as a person?
A nice guy, a good guy.
Now, with respect to, if I could bring you back to Fairview Road on January 28th and 29th of 2022. Obviously, you were familiar with Mr. O'Keefe at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
And at any point in time that you were in that home, did you see Mr. O'Keefe inside the home?
No.
At any point in time that you were outside of the home, going in, coming out, at any point in time did you see Mr. O'Keefe?
No.
At any point in time in the evening of January 28th into January 29th, 2022, did you see Mr. O'Keefe anywhere?
No.
And at that time, at end of January 2022, were you aware of or did you know anybody by the name of Karen?
Yes.
And how did you know her?
I knew that she dated Mr. O'Keefe.
And had you had any sort of prior interactions with Miss Reed prior to January 28th?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you know what she looked like?
Not really.
As far as any interactions, would that be just sort of driving by the house?
Yeah. Maybe drive by, wave. That was about it.
Now, as far as that sort of reaching out to Ms. McCabe on that particular evening, was that something that you had done before?
Yeah.
Is that something that sort of you and your friend group did together as far as if somebody was out and driving around and somebody else was maybe drinking somewhere, they could contact them for a ride?
Yes, correct.
That was as opposed to somebody drinking and then getting behind the wheel and driving, correct?
Exactly.
Now, sir, at some point in July of 2023, did you have occasion to meet with any troopers from the state police in regard to that evening of January 28th, 29th?
Say the date again.
Some point in July of 2023, did you meet with any troopers from the state police?
No.
At some point subsequent to that date of January 28th, 29th, did you meet with any troopers from the state police?
Yes.
And you were asked questions and you answered them, is that correct?
Correct.
And following that conversation or interview that you had with troopers from the state police, what, if anything, did you provide them with reference to your phone?
Can you rephrase that? Sorry.
At some point, did you provide them with a screenshot of a text communication between yourself and Ms. McCabe?
Yes.
And was that something that you took a screenshot on your own phone and then were able to then provide it to them?
Correct.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
So showing you a document, just ask you to look at it and then look up when you finish. And do you recognize that, sir?
Yes.
What do you recognize that?
My text messages between Allie that night.
And what's contained on that, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you recall as far as the text messages or what was on your phone as far as what you took a screenshot of the text messages between you and Allie McCabe that night?
Yes, sir.
May I approach again, Your Honor? Yes. I'm going to seek to introduce in a minute.
Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, one moment.
Sure.
No objection. Thank
All
you.
right. And jurors, remember the instruction I gave you about the text messages. Thank you. Okay.
Sir, what's up on the screen, is that what you have before you as Exhibit 84?
Yes.
And the contact that's listed at the top states out, is that correct?
Correct.
Is that how you had Ms. McCabe programmed into your phone?
Correct.
And from this, there's two sets of communications, one contained in blue bubbles and one contained in non-blue bubbles, correct?
Yes.
If you know the blue bubbles, is that you or is that Ms. McCabe or who's?
That's me.
So the other side would be Ms. McCabe, is that correct?
Correct.
There's also times that are stamped or associated with these text bubbles and with the text communications from Ms. McCabe.
Yes.
If I could direct your attention, and maybe easier if you're looking at the paper in front of you, but just sort of starting from the top, January 28, 2022, if you could read for the jury what the content is, what the time is, and indicate who is communicating.
At 11:54, I texted Allie and said, "You can get me now, period." At 11:54, I texted her again and said, "If easier." At 11:55, Allie texted me back and said, "Okay, I am driving people home now." At 11:55, I said, "Word." And then at 11:55, I said, "Get me after." At 11:55, Allie wrote back, "KK." And then at 12:10 a.m., Allie wrote, "Here." And at 12:10 a.m., I wrote back, "Okay."
Now, sir, with respect to that last communication that you sent as far as okay, how long after that message was sent did you then go out to the car where Allie was?
Right after, I'd say around 30 seconds.
And Your Honor, may I approach the witness again?
Yes.
Sir, I'm going to be showing you what's been marked as Exhibits 82 and 83. Again, I just asked you to take a look at those and look up for you. And do you recognize those, sir?
Yep.
And what do you recognize those?
Say that again.
What is in those photos?
A picture of me and my aunt and a picture of me by myself.
And do you recall sort of when those photographs were taken?
Yes, February 11th.
And why is it that you recall that, well, let me ask you this. As far as February 11th was concerned, where were you that evening?
I was at my uncle's house.
And why were you at your uncle's house on that?
My cousin was coming home for leave from the Marine Corps, so we had a little gathering for him.
And just to be clear, when you say your uncle, you're talking about your Uncle Brian Albert again?
Correct.
Your cousin that was coming home from the Marines, what's his name?
Jack Albert.
And so on that evening, you were over that house, is that correct?
Correct.
And the first picture in exhibit, I believe it's 82, is that correct? You and your aunt Nicole?
Correct.
And what's contained on there, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of sort of what you looked like as far as your arms, your hands, your face, all of those things on that date of February 11th?
Correct.
And the second photograph is again you by yourself, is that correct?
Correct.
And from that photograph, again, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you look like on February 11th?
Yes.
And from the second photograph in, if you know, where was that taken within the home of your uncle?
In the library at 34 Fairview.
And again, that library or any of the other rooms within the house beyond the kitchen, the dining room, or possibly the restroom, did you go into any other areas of the house on that night of January 28th into January 29th?
No.
Can I approach this to retrieve your?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Albert, just one last question. When it came to your arrival at 34 Fairview Road on the evening of, or the early morning of January 29th, when you were leaving, beyond your Uncle Brian and your Aunt Nicole, did you see anybody else older than yourself or anybody else related to that group come into the house that evening?
No.
Thank you, sir. I have nothing further.
Mr. Jackson, do you want to begin or wait until the morning?
Your Honor, it probably makes more sense to wait till tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Albert, who did you talk to in order to prepare for your testimony starting yesterday?
Can you rephrase that question, please?
Phrase the question. You didn't understand my question?
No.
Jeez.
Who did you speak to in order to prepare for your testimony yesterday?
My lawyer.
Other than your lawyer, who did you speak to prepare for your testimony yesterday?
No one.
Did you speak to your parents?
No.
You didn't speak to your mom, your dad?
Nope.
At any time before yesterday about your testimony or your statements?
Nope.
Did you discuss with your parents their testimony?
No.
So after they got off the witness stand, your dad didn't come home and say, here's how my day went?
No.
Your mom didn't come home and say, here's how my day went?
Nope.
The Albert family just ignored the fact that both of them
That's what I was
testified in a
thinking
court
too.
of law before a jury about the events of January 29th, 2022. Nothing was ever said.
No.
Did you talk to Mr. Lally at any point before yesterday in preparation for your testimony?
Before yesterday, you said?
Correct.
Yes.
Tell me when.
Want to say a month ago about
What did you talk about?
I got prepped for this.
Tell me what that means. What does it mean to prep for this?
What I'm going to be getting asked.
Okay. Remember my very first question this morning? I said, have you spoken to anybody in order to prepare for your testimony? And you said no.
Yeah.
So that's not true. You spoke with Mr. Lally.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Not okay. It's yes or no.
Yes.
You said that was about a month ago, correct?
Correct. Around a month ago.
Tell me what, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Around a month ago. That's it.
Tell me what you and Mr. Lally discussed.
Lots
The
of red
questions I would
flags.
be asked here.
Can you be more detailed?
I don't remember everything he said.
Did he go over the questions that he believed he would ask?
I believe so.
Did you give him answers to those questions that you believed you would give in response to his questions?
Yes.
What questions did he tell you he was going to ask?
I don't remember.
What answers did you tell him you were going to give?
I don't remember.
That was just a month ago, right?
Yes.
Obviously, you've been thinking about this case quite a bit, haven't you?
Yeah.
Over the last 2.5 years.
No.
How long have you been thinking about this case?
Since people started writing about me on the internet.
How about since you were at a house where an individual ended up dead on the lawn the next morning? Did that prompt you to start thinking about this case?
No.
Not so much, huh?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Did you speak with, when Mr. Lally spoke with you, who else was there?
It's
The
wild.
witness advocate, I believe, and
Steve Nelson?
yes.
Who else?
And is it Sergeant Tully, I believe?
Tully, T-U-L-L-Y?
I believe so, yes.
Anybody else?
Not that I remember.
Sergeant Tully taking notes while you were having this conversation with Mr. Lally?
I do not remember.
Mr. Lally taking notes?
I do not remember.
You remember being told by either Sergeant Tully or Mr. Lally that your conversation was being recorded?
I do not remember.
How long was that meeting?
Say 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Were you given any instructions by either Sergeant Tully or Mr. Lally about your preparation for your testimony?
Can you rephrase that, please?
Sure. Did they give you any instructions about your the preparation for your testimony? How they wanted you to answer questions? The tone
No.
and tenor of your testimony?
No.
How they wanted you to dress, for instance?
No.
Other than that time a month ago, have you spoken with Mr. Lally or anybody from the DA's office since then, before yesterday?
No.
You watched any coverage of this case online?
Nope.
No social media?
No, I don't have social media.
No news,
Wrong, you have Snapchat.
Nope.
nightly news, Channel 25, Channel 5?
No.
National news?
Nope.
Blogs?
Nope.
So literally, according to you, you know zero about the media coverage concerning this case, Commonwealth versus Karen.
Correct.
Oh, shut up.
Did
Bro.
you talk to Allie before her testimony?
No.
When was the last time you did talk to Allie before she testified yesterday?
I don't remember.
Give me an idea. She's one of your best friends. A week ago, a day ago, a month ago.
I do not remember.
Could have been a year ago.
I do not remember.
Could have been 5 years ago.
No.
So it's more recently than 5 years ago that you spoke with Allie.
I don't remember.
Oh my God, shut up.
So you have no independent
Sir.
recollection as you sit here. The last time you talked to one of your best friends and your cousin about any subject.
No, I don't remember.
Were you ever told
You
in
dumb?
preparation for your testimony, if you start to get stumped or nervous, just say, I don't remember?
Nope.
Nobody ever told you that?
Mm-mm. No. No. Sorry.
It's okay. So nobody ever informed you that you might get nervous on the witness stand, there might be tough questions. The easiest way to get out of that is just say, yeah, I don't recall.
No.
So you just don't recall because your memory is that bad. You literally don't recall the last time you spoke with Colin.
Objection.
Ask that differently, Mr.
Sure.
Jackson.
Sure. Your testimony is you are not instructed to say, I don't remember. You just literally don't remember.
Correct.
It's an issue with your memory, not an instruction that you received. Correct. Right. But you do remember 2.5 years ago, you left 34 Fairview at 12:10 a.m., correct? Down to the minute.
Correct.
You.
Did Mr. Lally, during this meeting that y'all had, did Mr. Lally show you anything? Items of evidence, photographs, videos, anything like that?
No.
Did you two talk about any evidence that you might see? Photographs, documents, videos?
Not that I remember.
He didn't show you the series of text messages between you and Miss McCabe, Allie?
I don't remember.
Okay, so you're not saying he didn't. You're just saying, again, you just don't remember.
Correct.
Okay. And this was just a month ago.
Around a month. Correct.
Could have been sooner than a month.
What?
Let me ask that a different way. Could have been more recently than a month.
I don't know.
Don't know that either.
Mm-mm.
Is that no?
Yeah.
Why are they
So,
so
Mr. Albert, you have to
skeevy?
answer yes or no, not just.
All right. Sorry.
Where were you when this meeting a month ago took place?
At the DA's office on Llama Road.
Who contacted you to come to the DA's
Say, I'll
office?
say.
I do not remember that.
Don't remember that either.
No.
Phone call from Mr. Lally, maybe?
I don't believe that I received a phone call. Maybe my lawyer did or my father, but I don't know. I don't believe I did.
Oh, he's a lawyer
If I received a
too.
phone call and then told you need to go to the DA's office to meet with Mr. Lally, that would be a conversation with your dad about your preparation for your testimony, correct?
I wouldn't say so. No.
You would categorize that as such?
No.
Okay. Because of course, even though you went to the DA's office to meet Mr. Lally and a sergeant from the Massachusetts State Police to talk about your testimony, you didn't mention that to your dad.
No.
Didn't mention that to your mom.
No.
And when you got
What?
done with that meeting, Dad didn't ask you, how'd it go, son?
Nope.
Your mom didn't say, how was that meeting?
No.
About this massive murder case.
Objection.
Wow.
Let me ask it a different way. Do you consider this to be a high-profile murder case?
Objection.
Stand on
Nope, never heard of it before.
In your mind, this is an important case, correct? Obviously.
Correct.
But according to you, it just never comes up in the Albert household.
No.
Your neighbor who lives 3 doors down. Found in your aunt and uncle's.
You were asked to
front
look at
lawn.
a couple of
Whatever,
text
bro.
messages yesterday. Looked a little bit like this. You seen that before?
Yes.
When did you see that before?
Okay.
Yesterday
Before yesterday? Had you ever seen that before?
on my phone. Yeah.
Okay, other than on your phone when you made the screenshot, did you ever seen that before? Mr. Lally ever show it to you?
Not that I remember. No.
So you two didn't discuss that in your meeting a month or less ago?
We could have. I don't remember.
But again, you don't remember.
Mm-mm.
Is that no?
No.
Did Mr. Lally tell you why he wanted to question you about those text messages?
Don't remember.
Did Mr. Lally tell you anything about what you might be asked on cross-examination?
No.
Did he ask you about any videos that you've ever posted?
No.
Did he ask you about any comments you've ever made online?
Nope.
Any photos you've ever been in?
No.
Any fights you've ever been in?
Nope.
Sir.
Who's Courtney Proctor?
She's friendly with my aunt, Jillian.
I'm sorry?
My aunt Jillian, she's friendly with.
When you say friendly with, describe that. What do you mean by friendly with?
I know that they're pretty friendly.
Have you ever been to Courtney Proctor's home?
Yes.
How many times would you say over the years?
4 or 5, maybe.
Her family is close to your family, it's fair to say.
Not that close. Close though.
When you say not that close, but close though, what does that mean?
I'd say we were more close when I was younger, not when I got older.
Okay. How old are you now? You're 20?
Correct.
May I approach?
Okay.
Thank you. Take a look at that photo.
Oh, this guy.
Tell me if you recognize it. Just look at it to yourself, please. Let me know after you studied it for a second.
Yep.
You recognize the photo?
Yes.
Who's in that photo?
Objection.
So the objection sustained as to the content of the photos. Did you want to come to sidebar and explain this to me?
Mr. Albert, approximately when was that photograph taken?
Objection.
No, we can get that, but we'll answer that question.
10 years or less ago, I'd say. I don't.
You were the ring bearer in Courtney Proctor's wedding, were you not?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
What?
Correct.
So when you say we're friendly, but not that, or we're close rather, but not that close, you were actually close enough to be a member of her wedding party when she was married to her now husband, correct?
When I was younger, correct.
Well, of course it was when you were younger, it was
Mhm.
10 years ago.
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yeah.
That's my question. So for at least a decade, your family and the Proctor family has been close enough such that you and Albert were in her wedding, correct?
Objection.
Ask that differently, Mr. Jackson.
For the last, well, at least at that time, 10 years ago, your family was close enough to the Proctor family such that you were a ring bearer in Courtney Proctor's wedding, right?
Correct.
And who's Courtney Proctor's brother?
Michael Proctor.
And is Michael Proctor in the photograph that you're looking at?
Yes.
Person on the far left,
Correct.
looks like he's in a tuxedo.
Correct.
You were also in a tuxedo.
Objection.
Sustained.
What I'm getting at is you all were part of the same wedding party, correct?
Correct.
And that's a photograph of Courtney Proctor's wedding and the entire wedding party, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Is that a photograph of a wedding party?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Albert, I want you to look at that one more time.
Welcome back.
Both you and Michael Proctor are depicted in the photograph, correct?
Correct.
How long have you known Michael Proctor?
Since I was a little kid.
And you've known him well enough to know, I don't want you to tell me or tell the jurors, but you know where he lives.
Yeah.
You consider the Proctor family close to your family.
Yeah.
During the course of, for instance, just as an example, during the course of this event, joyous event at a wedding, you actually sat at the head table along with the Proctor family because you were given the honor of being a ring bearer in Courtney's wedding, correct?
Correct.
And you know, of course, that being in a wedding party is reserved for the most special family members and friends, correct?
Objection.
Sustain.
In your mind, was that a special honor?
Objection.
Is that what you thought when you were little? When you were in that?
I'd say so, yeah.
Okay.
And you were never interviewed by Canton Police Department in connection with this case, correct?
No.
How many times were you interviewed by the Massachusetts State Police in connection with this case?
Once.
And that was in July of 2023, correct?
I don't remember exactly when it was.
About a year and a half after the events in question. Is that right?
Around there.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection if you saw a copy of a report of that interview? Just to get the date?
Sure, yeah.
May I approach on?
Yes.
Take a look at paragraph 1. It's in the middle of the paragraph. If you'll just read that to yourself, please. You got that?
Yeah.
You saw the July 18 date,
Yes.
2023?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection that that was the first time you were interviewed by the Massachusetts State Police?
Correct.
May I approach on?
Yes.
Thank you. Who conducted that interview?
Michael Proctor and one of his partners, I believe. I don't remember.
Michael Proctor was the lead investigator. That interviewed you, correct?
Of course he was.
Correct.
That's the same Michael Proctor that appears on the far left of the photo of that wedding party, correct?
Correct.
Did you find that that interview, by the way, how long did the interview last? Michael Proctor.
I do not remember.
Do you remember testifying at one point that it was about 10 minutes?
No, the kids were
No.
John's niece and nephew, but
You testified at
I don't
a
think they're
in a
calling
different
them
hearing, a different proceeding, not the
for the
proceeding. One
current
other
trial.
time, correct?
Correct.
May I approach?
Yes.
I need a foundational question first. I apologize. It's my fault, Mr. Albert. Do you believe it would refresh your recollection as to the length of that first interview if you were to see your testimony from a prior proceeding?
Yeah.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, I bet it'll
Look at
refresh
this,
his
and I'm going
memory.
to direct your attention to line 18 and 19 of that transcript. Let me know when you've reviewed it. Is that yes?
Yeah.
May I?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
How long was that interview?
Which interview are you?
The interview that you had with Michael Proctor. That's what that question was about, that you just read.
I still don't remember.
You recall that it says that you testified, question, how long did
Objection.
the interview last for?
The objection sustained where his memory is not refreshed. You can do this differently, you know that.
Did this refresh your recollection as to the question and answer, how you answered the question, how long that interview lasted?
Yes.
Did you say 10 minutes?
Yes.
Isn't
So
he?
during the course of that 10-minute conversation that you had with Michael Proctor, what was the tone of that interview? You understand what I mean by tone?
I do not understand.
Okay. Was it hostile and accusatory?
Not that I remember, no.
Was it antagonistic or confrontational?
Can you use different words, please?
Sure.
I
Was
know
he
he
being
wasn't
mean?
gonna know those words.
No.
He was being nice, right?
Professional, I'd say.
Because you've known him almost your whole life, right?
Yes.
He was friendly and cordial,
Correct.
and the interview was comfortable.
Say it again.
The interview was comfortable.
Correct.
You didn't feel like you were on the hot seat.
No.
Did you find that the interview with Michael Proctor was consistent with the relationship that you've had with him your whole life? Meaning, he's always been friendly to you. He was just as friendly in that conversation.
Not really, no.
How is he different?
I'd say more professional.
Okay. Obviously, he was doing a job, correct?
Correct.
But when you walked in, you recognized him.
Yes.
He recognized you.
Yes.
You made natural greetings with one another, correct?
Correct.
Questioned you about a few things.
Correct.
He didn't look at your phone. He didn't ask to take your phone away from you.
No.
He didn't ask to seize your phone or seize any other physical items from you.
No.
You weren't asked to come down to the police station and
He
sit in the
probably thinks
interview
that's a
room or an
dinosaur.
interrogation room, were you?
No.
Matter of fact, where did the conversation take place? Those 10 minutes.
In the DA's office on Shawmut Road.
DA's office on Shawmut Road. Who else was there other than Trooper Proctor and his partner at the time, Trooper Clark?
Can you
Who
repeat?
else was there? Was it just Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, and Clark?
Yes.
Okay, so it was just the three of you.
Yes.
And Trooper Proctor was the one that was sort of leading the conversation.
Yes.
And when it was done, he said, "You're free to go."
Correct.
And he didn't take your phone.
Nope.
He didn't ask you to look at any text messages.
Nope.
He didn't look through your phone.
Nope.
He didn't take any screenshots or videos of your phone or the contents of your phone.
Nope.
Just let you walk out the door.
Correct.
Your Honor, may I publish the photo?
Why don't you come over here for just 1 second?
May I have that, please?
Well, I mean,
May I
since he's
inquire?
as qualified as the other guy.
Mr. Albert, I want to shift gears for a quick second. On July 27th, you and your attorney appeared at a hearing in a separate proceeding, correct? Let me ask it a different way. You testified at a different proceeding, not this trial, but a different proceeding.
Correct.
Okay, you were put under oath, you appeared with your lawyer, you gave testimony, and that's part of what you looked at a second.
Correct.
But when you met with Michael Proctor, you did not feel the need to take an attorney with you. It was just you, Michael Proctor, and Investigator Clark, correct?
Objection.
That's sustained.
You were asked yesterday about certain texts with your cousin Allie, correct?
Correct.
Allie is obviously family,
Yes.
but she's more than family. She's also a good friend of yours.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, she's one of your best friends.
Correct.
And at your age, this is not meant to be pejorative, but we're different generations. At your age,
I don't think he
your
knows that
most
word.
convenient way of communicating is through text message.
Correct.
I mean, if you're gonna grab a buddy, say, let's meet at the such and such ball field or whatever, you're gonna text him, probably not call
Either or.
him. Okay. But texting is pretty common between you and your friends.
Yes.
Texting is certainly common between you and Alan. We've already seen evidence of that, right?
Yes.
And that's generally how you like to communicate with Alan.
Oh, it's
I'd say so. Yeah.
In fact, when you reached out to her for a ride, there were like 8 text messages back and forth just for a pickup, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
But he doesn't remember the last time he talked
I
to
just want
her.
you to have that in front of you. Your Honor, with the court's permission, can we place Exhibit 81 on the screen?
Okay.
You see what's
Welcome back.
displayed on the screen?
Yes.
It's only part of the text string, but does that look like it's an accurate representation of what you're looking at?
Yes.
And this is a series of texts.
There's
on
no
about January
comma
28th and 29th,
after the date.
2022, is that right?
Yes.
And Mr. Albert, you needed something as simple as a ride. You were just asking Allie to give you a ride. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's because you said that it's common for you guys to text back and forth. You just texted her, hey, you can get me now. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you texted if it's easier. And then she said, okay, I'm dropping people off. And there was an exchange back and forth. Is that right?
Yeah.
And there were at least 8 texts between the two of you, if you just count them up real quick, just about getting picked up.
Yeah.
But if you scroll down a little bit, after the end of that text string that ends at 12:10 a.m. and it says okay. You see the next date?
Yes.
What
Yes.
date is that?
No commas after the 22. Huh?
February 20th.
That's nearly a month later, correct?
Correct.
So there was a gap after January 29th, 2022, when you found out that a man had ended up dead on your uncle's lawn. And you and Allie did not text each other for a month, not once.
Objection.
Sustained as to that form. Ask it
See,
differently.
look who we got with
Isn't
us
it
this
true
morning.
that
Welcome,
on
Terry
January
True Crime. Hi.
29th,
Hey,
Hey, you found out about John O'Keefe and his condition. In fact,
this
he died.
kid.
Objection.
Is that true? Did you find out that day?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Ridiculous.
you were well aware of, we can take that down. You were well aware, Mr. Albert, that something very tragic had happened at your uncle's house, Brian Albert's house, right?
Correct.
And you were aware that you had been at your uncle's house that night, right?
Correct.
You're also aware that, according to you, Allie McCabe was the one that picked you up and took you from that location.
Correct.
And notwithstanding the fact of this tragedy, you and Allie didn't text each other one time for a month. Is that right?
I don't think that's correct.
So where are those texts?
We text on other platforms too. So I'd say other apps.
So is there a reason why you decided for the next month to just switch platforms to maybe Snapchat?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No reason.
Are you sure that you switched platforms?
I'd say so, yeah.
Why did you switch platforms?
We go back and forth, I'd say, between platforms texting.
You switched platforms because you know that Snapchat deletes all communications, correct?
Objection.
It doesn't do that.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Do you know that Snapchat has an auto delete function on it?
If your app is set to that, yes.
Your app was set to that, wasn't it?
I do not remember that.
So again, your memory is failing.
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Once again, your memory is failing you. You just
Objection.
don't remember.
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Isn't it true, Mr. Albert, that you either switched platforms or deleted the texts because you did not want your text communications with Allie McCabe to be discovered?
Objection.
Overruled.
Is that right?
That's not true.
So where are those communications?
I do not know.
Can't produce them right now, can you?
I'm not sure.
So in the days, hours, days, and weeks following the death of John O'Keefe, your communications with your best friend, Allie, the person who gave you a ride home that night, they're just gone. Right?
Like everything
I'm
else
not sure.
in this trial. Just go.
You testified that you provided Exhibit 81, what we're just looking at, and you're still looking at in front of you, as a screenshot of your communications on January 29th,
Mhm.
2022 with Allie McCabe, correct? It was a screenshot.
You say that again? Sorry.
You provided that item as a screenshot, not as an actual text to law enforcement. Is that right?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Do you know what a screenshot is?
Yes.
What's a screenshot?
Can you take a picture on your phone?
That's a picture from your phone.
Yes.
Okay. So it is a screenshot.
Yes, it is a screenshot.
Okay. That's my question.
He's ridiculous.
When you met with Michael Proctor in that interview that lasted 10 minutes, Michael Proctor did not get the actual texts underlying that screenshot, did he?
No.
He never looked for those actual texts, did he?
No.
He never asked you for those actual texts, did he?
No.
And you never volunteered to give him those actual texts, did you?
Yes.
I think I volunteered to, yeah.
On that day?
Oh, no, not on that day, no.
Not on that day. You know what a phone extraction is?
Not familiar.
Okay. Have you ever heard of a phone imaging or a phone extraction or a forensic extraction? Any of those words sound familiar?
Not really, no.
Michael Proctor never asked you, I think it's fair to say now, given that answer.
Is his
Michael
dad a
Proctor never
cop?
asked you
No.
if you could do a phone extraction.
No, his
No.
dad
Your
isn't.
cell phone, did he? He
No.
never asked if he could take a forensic image of your phone, did he?
No.
Do you know what metadata is?
Nope.
You know the dates and times, you take a photo on your phone, sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time, it'll capture the date and time of the photo, you know that?
Objection.
I'll hear this answer and it may end your inquiry. Do you know that?
Pretty sure. Pretty
It's
sure. I
not the
believe that.
brightest.
Have you ever heard of that data, the dates and times and geolocations? Have you ever heard of that referred to as metadata?
No.
Okay, so I'll just use the word date and time.
Okay.
You know that on your phone, if you pull up a text, you can go behind the text and see the date and time that it was actually sent or received, right?
Yeah.
But on a screenshot, you're left with just what's on the screen. Can't go behind the screenshot, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Provided just the screenshot, ultimately, not the actual text, correct?
Correct.
But in September of 2023, Michael Proctor's partner, a man by the name of Yuri Buknik, you know that name?
Yeah.
He contacted you and said he wanted to talk about your text messages, correct?
Don't remember.
Do you remember that you told Yuri Buknik when he asked about the text messages, you did not have
asked
the
for me.
screenshot anymore?
'Cause I'm
You
weed
sent it
whacking
to your
hat.
father, Chris.
I don't remember that.
Do you recall telling Yuri Buknik if you wanted to get the screenshot, you weren't going to give it to him, you'd have to get it from your dad?
Do not remember that.
You remember Trooper Buknik agreeing with you and saying, sure, I'll just call your dad and get it from him.
Don't remember that.
You don't remember giving, you certainly don't remember ever giving Trooper Buknik a copy of that screenshot.
No, I don't remember.
Because you didn't, did you?
I do not remember.
But you did give it to your dad, right?
I do not remember.
Do you remember anything about this case?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll withdraw.
I mean, everybody can have their opinion, I guess.
To this day, you've never been required to present your phone to any law enforcement agent, have you?
Nope.
It was never imaged. It was never downloaded.
Nope.
You still have the same phone?
Yes.
If you had the actual texts on your phone, why did you provide law enforcement with just a screenshot?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
I'm not sure.
You were shown a photo yesterday of you in February of 2022 with your aunt. Remember that photo? Yeah. Mr. Lally showed you that photo?
Correct.
And he said he wanted you to pay special attention to your face and hands and extremities. Asked if there's anything unusual about that.
Yes.
You said no. In that photo, absolutely nothing unusual in February 2022 about you, your face, your hands, fists, nothing. Right?
Correct.
I want to draw your attention to February 26th, same month, less than a month after the incident. You were at a place called Fenway Johnny's with your buddies, weren't you?
Correct.
Then I have two documents I'd like to mark for identification with court's permission to show Mr. Lally.
Okay.
Sir, do you recognize those two documents?
Yes.
Taking a look at the one that's got multiple documents on it, I don't want you to tell me what's on it. Just tell me if you recognize the picture that's in the middle to the right.
Yes.
Okay. And then looking at the second document, which I believe is marked EE for identification at this point, does that appear to be a true and accurate enlargement of the first thumbnail?
Yes.
And those were taken on that photo was taken on February 26, 2022,
Yes.
at the place called, I think it's called Fenway Johnny's, right?
Correct.
May I publish the
Put it into evidence first.
move for the admission of just EE?
So you need to get it to the court reporter.
May I, I'm sorry, just FF? May I approach?
Yes.
Do you see that photograph that's being displayed?
Yes.
Are you in that photograph?
Yes.
Which person are you?
In the middle.
And about what time of day was it? That's you in the middle?
Correct.
Okay. About what time of day was this taken?
Not sure.
Was it at an event of some sort or just you were at a bar?
Just at a bar.
Okay. I want you to take a look at your right hand. Can you see from there clearly your right hand?
Yes.
What do you notice about your right hand?
It's cut up.
Your knuckles are injured, correct?
Correct.
Now, you didn't take this photo, did you?
Nope.
That photo was never on your phone. In other words, it wasn't a friend of yours that took the photo. Correct?
No.
This was taken by an event staff member, is that right?
Correct.
It was later posted on social media, isn't that right?
Correct.
You could not access the metadata. You couldn't access the time and date of that photo, correct?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
You couldn't manipulate the time or date this photo was taken?
No.
This photo is completely sort of out of your control, isn't that right?
Correct.
What
It
was the
controlled
date
by
of
the
this
event
photo
staff
again?
at Fenway Johnny's.
Correct.
And on February 26th, less than a month after the incident at Fairview, that's what your right knuckles look like, correct?
Okay, never mind.
Correct.
And this is a true and accurate depiction of your condition on or about February 26th, correct?
Correct.
How'd you get those injuries, Mr. Albert? We can, pull the lights up.
I was at a party, my house party, my senior year, and I remember it being icy out, and it was kind of like a steep hill of a driveway, and I was walking up the driveway, and I slipped down the driveway, and I tried to catch myself, but I had something in my left hand, so I had tried to brace myself with my right hand, and I ended up sliding a little bit down the driveway.
What'd you have in your left hand?
If I remember, it was either my phone or a beverage.
So according to you, you fell on ice and injured your knuckles, as we just saw in that photograph, right across the top of your knuckles.
Correct.
So you fell onto pavement, asphalt,
Remembers
Yes.
that.
and you braced yourself when you fell, your entire body weight, by putting your right hand down in a fist, and you injured your right fist, just the top of the knuckles on your right fist when you fell down.
Correct.
Seriously?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You didn't put your palm
He said what I was thinking.
Fell your entire body weight on your right fist and just injured the top portion of your knuckles, correct?
Correct.
Those injuries to your knuckles look an awful lot like the type of injuries that you would get in a
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You ever been in a fight, sir?
Other than with my brothers, no.
You've never been in a fight
Nope.
your entire life.
Other than with my brothers, no.
You never hurt your knuckles before.
Not sure what you mean.
Never hurt your knuckles in a fight.
No.
And in this case, when you fell down on the asphalt, it was only the top four knuckles of your right hand, correct?
Correct.
You right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
You box?
Nope.
I'm sorry, you don't box?
Nope.
You've never boxed?
That's how it
Never.
is here in Ohio.
You ever practice boxing?
I've hit the
But
bag
not
for
in a
like cardio,
bar.
but other than that, no.
You can drink in a
The
bar with your
bag,
parents
that
here.
considered boxing?
Oh.
I wouldn't say so. Not
It's not jumping
really.
rope, is it, Mr. Albert?
No.
It's not doing curls,
Nope.
not doing push-ups or calisthenics.
Right.
Nope.
It's hitting a bag, correct?
Yeah.
That's boxing, right?
I'd say yeah.
Apparently on our Discord, there is a video of him fighting
When
or
you-
gearing up to fight. I'm not sure. I haven't watched it
When
myself.
that photograph was taken at Fenway Johnny's, those knuckles look like they had been re-injured from a prior injury. No?
No.
Just falling on the asphalt.
Correct.
Any other cuts or scrapes from that terrible fall on the asphalt?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll rephrase it. Any other cuts or scrapes or injuries from that fall?
I don't remember.
Just your right knuckles.
Wow.
You said you've never been in a fight before.
Nope.
Did you post a video? You threatened that you're going to.
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection sustained. I'll see you at sidebar on this. I'm familiar with this. So, Mr. Albert, you stay right where you are. We're going to see a couple of short videos, and then Mr. Jackson will ask you questions, and then Mr. Lally will ask you questions. Then I'll hear from the lawyers, and then I'll take a break, and you'll get a break before we go back.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Did you have a lawyer present?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. So the first one, are they both on the same? They're separate.
Separated them?
All right. So let's mark them each for identification.
The one I'm holding in my right hand,
Bring it up.
I'll call advantage.
Okay.
That would be GG for identification.
Thank you. All right. So play GG first, please.
Yes, sir.
Yo, your advantage boys, I will beat all your asses. I promise you, I will fuck you all up. Pull up, bitch.
Okay. And the next one, please.
Oh, you're ready.
Fuck you. Now, fuck you, pussy. Let's go, boy. You can knock out. KO. Bang, bang.
May I
Yes.
inquire, Your Honor?
Yes.
So messed
I'm gonna
up.
take those two
These
videos
videos.
one at a time. I'm gonna call one the advantage voice and one the bang bang video. For purposes of my questioning, Mr. Albert, specifically regarding the advantage voice video, did you recognize it?
Yes.
How did you recognize it?
Douche.
What do you mean by
How
that?
do you recognize it? Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. When was that taken?
Maybe my sophomore year in high school. Around.
Where were you?
I don't remember. Where?
So your sophomore year in high school, that's about 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, around.
You indicated on cross-examination, you've never been in a fight.
No.
Indicating that you have no violent tendencies and no violent proclivities, correct?
Nope.
What were you saying on that video?
That I would beat them up.
Did you say you would beat them up, or did you say, I will fuck you up?
I said I will F you up.
No, you didn't say, I will F you up. What did you actually say?
That I would fuck them up.
You also said something about beating somebody's ass, right?
Correct.
What did that mean?
That I would beat them up.
So when you said, I will fuck you up and I will beat your ass, was that a friendly invitation?
No.
It was a threat, correct?
I don't know if I would call it a threat.
Don't?
I'm not sure.
Someone walks up to you,
That's
not-
why we're watching them today.
or someone did, walked up to you and said, I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. You wouldn't take that as a threat?
If they walked up to me, yeah.
But if they didn't walk up and just shouted it across the street and stood there and said, I will fuck you up, I will beat your ass, that's not a threat.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you are sure, sir.
All right. So that I'll strike at the Commonwealth standing up. Objecting.
Were you threatening these advantage boys, guys, whoever they are?
Yeah, kinda.
Were you
Kinda.
threatening them with violence?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. In the second video, you said, fuck you a number of times. And then you said, KO, you said, pull up, KO, bang, bang. Right?
Correct.
Explain that to me.
Not sure. Like, explain what I said.
Is that a threat?
Yeah.
Pull up, bitch. Right?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Those same advantage kids.
Got it. So you're threatening them yet again a second time.
Yeah.
What does pull up mean?
Like, come by.
Yeah, meaning get over here.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
Because when you do, I'm going to fuck you up. Right?
Yeah.
Meaning I'm going to fight you and I'm going to put you down. Correct?
Correct.
That was your threat to them.
Correct.
They're on the list.
Can we get a time on this second one?
Of course. When was the second one, the bang bang threat made?
I think it's
Before
gonna be
or after
102.
the advantage boys?
Excuse me.
I'm not sure.
After?
Might have been this same night. I really don't know.
Well, you're dressed completely differently, so it's probably not the same night. You would agree with that?
Unless I could have changed my shirt. I do that often.
Okay. So you changed your shirt on the same night. You just decided to threaten the guys twice. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Was it around the same time frame?
Around you?
The fact of the matter is, Mr. Albert, you do like to fight, don't you?
Nope.
The fact of the matter is, you showed up at another hearing, at another proceeding, to testify. And you showed up with busted knuckles then too, didn't you?
Ooh.
I do not remember.
July 27th, 2023. Do you remember being at another hearing?
Yes.
You remember being questioned by some attorneys?
Yes.
Do you remember the question about the condition of your fist? Literally at the hearing?
Yeah.
It was obvious to the person that was questioning you that you had an injury to your fist, correct?
Objection.
That's a statement.
I'll rephrase that. My apologies, Your Honor. You were asked questions by the questioner about the condition, the physical condition of your fist, weren't you?
Correct.
And you claimed at that time, well, let me back up for a second, ask a different question. They were asking because you had open injuries on your right knuckles yet again, didn't you?
Correct.
What'd you do this time?
You said, it must have been hitting a heavy bag, right?
Yeah.
Boxing again.
Hit in the bag, yeah.
Just working out, right?
Yep.
Didn't have any injuries on your left hand though, did you?
No.
How many times have you hit a heavy bag?
I'm not sure.
How many times have you worked out with a heavy bag? That's an unfair question. I'll ask a better one. How many times have you worked out on a heavy bag?
I'm not sure.
When you work out on a heavy bag, you wrap your hands, don't you?
I do not know.
I see. So only your right hand gets injured over and over and over and over again, not your left hand,
I'm not sure.
even though you punch in the bag with both hands.
I'm not sure.
Yet again, you're right-handed, aren't you?
Yes.
So when you throw a haymaker, your hardest punch, that's with your right fist, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Is that right?
I would say they have equal. They're equal. I don't know. Not sure.
All right, Mr. Lally.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This kid is something.
Mr. Albert, when those videos were made, you were a sophomore in high school, is that right?
Around that, yeah.
How old were you when you were a sophomore in high school?
16 years old.
And so that would have been at least a couple years before January of 2022, correct?
Yeah.
And as far as within those videos, well, as far as timing, so those videos were around the same time, both sort of same time period within your sophomore year,
Correct.
and relatively close to each other, is that correct?
Correct.
And who or what is an advantage?
It's a club hockey team.
And what, if any, relationship did you have with that club hockey team?
None.
And so as far as what videos you were made and sending, were there any videos from that group that were made and sent to you?
Text messages.
And with regard to those text messages, generally speaking, what do they say?
Just name calling me and my friends, calling us like pussies and stuff like that.
So this was sort of a back and forth, is that correct?
Correct.
And do you even play hockey?
Nope.
And were these people around your age at that time?
Yeah.
And were they kids from the same town or different?
I don't even know where they're from.
Did you even really know these kids or what the names were or anything like that?
Not at all.
And was there ever any sort of physical fight or even a physical interaction with these other kids?
Never.
Did you ever even meet them face to face?
Never.
And with regard to Mr. O'Keefe, your neighbor who lived at the top of the street when you lived at Seven Meadows, you ever threaten him?
Never.
Did he ever threaten you?
Never.
Did you ever have any sort of back and forth exchange similar to what was up on the screen?
Never.
I have nothing further.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I very briefly? You indicated, Mr. Albert, that this was your sophomore year in high school. But you were asked that exact same question under oath, the time frame of these videos in that other hearing, weren't you?
I believe so, yes.
You indicated under oath in that hearing that it looked like it was your junior or senior year in high school, correct?
Maybe, I'm not sure
Not sure.
exactly what I said.
Your senior year would have been what year, sir?
2022, 21, 22.
Same year John O'Keefe died.
Correct.
That's all I have at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, I will hear you.
Okay, well, that seems to be,
Your Honor, if we could make the argument outside the presence of the witness.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask you.
oh no,
to
there's
step
still
out.
more. Oh,
I mean, I had a teenage boy who was full of testosterone
Thank you,
and
Your Honor.
Hold on.
anger, and he would have done that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you cannot hear in that background.
No problem. I appreciate you giving us the opportunity. Your Honor, it's very clear that these videos are highly, highly relevant, given the sanitized testimony that this witness has tried to present to this jury. He's indicated that he's never been in a fight, doesn't have any violent proclivities, he doesn't have any violent tendencies. It's not in his countenance to do this. Mr. Lally opened this
So
door.
you only got that through the voir dire.
Understood.
Okay, so the violent tendencies only came in through the voir dire.
Well, that's not true. But in front of the jury, he said, "I've never been in a fight."
Okay, but that specific question, you said violent tendencies, it was unobjected to, but that was voir dire.
Understood. Mr. Lally clearly opened this door yesterday. He presented a photograph or a series of photographs with this witness's family. His arm draped over his aunt. He's with his mom, looking very family-oriented, etc. And Mr. Lally went further than that and specifically said, "I want you to take a look at your face, your hands, and your extremities. Do you see anything unusual or odd about that?" That's why I believe the court allowed, based on the testimony today, allowed the photograph in February of 2022 of the actual photo that cannot be manipulated. It's in the hands of a third party of the busted and injured knuckles on this witness's right hand. He then said, "I've never been in a fight." Those two videos belie that testimony. There is no way to look at those two videos and say, this is not relevant to the issue of whether or not he has been in a fight.
But tell me how whether he's been in a fight is relevant to an issue in this case. That's what you have to do.
Because the police should have, the Massachusetts State Police should have, if they were doing their due diligence, they should have investigated this young man. They should have investigated every single person that was in that house, in or around the home of where John O'Keefe was found, the Albert home, and they didn't. They did nothing to investigate whether or not there was someone in the house who tended to fight, who wanted to get in physical altercations, who had a propensity to get in physical altercations, who was a fighter by nature, who threatened to fight, who threatened violence. That's what this young man has indicated he does constantly. I'm surprised he didn't show up in this hearing with busted knuckles.
So does this go to your third party culprit defense?
It goes to both. It certainly goes to both, but yes, it also goes to our third party culprit defense as well. This is a focus of, I believe this should be a focus of the juror's attention in terms of, is there a third party who could have done this that evidence points to that may have done this? Absolutely. This evidence, what we now have, points directly in that it's focused in that direction. So yes, both it should have been investigated, and Colin Albert is somebody that the jurors should focus their opinion on or their attention on to determine whether or not he could have or was involved in the death of John O'Keefe.
All right, Mr. Lally?
Yes, Your Honor. The Commonwealth would submit did not open the door in reference to this, showing a photograph of someone and what they physically looked like. There was no suggestion. The only questions that were asked about fighting or anything of that nature were by counsel. So counsel thinks he opened his own door. I don't think that's exactly how that works. This is nothing more than rank speculation. It has nothing, bears no relevance whatsoever to this case. You're talking about something that is dated at least a year, if not two, prior to the incidents in this case.
But what if it's as Mr. Jackson pointed out, the prior testimony, his senior year, which is, of course, is much closer?
Well, I think even assuming that, as far as relevance is concerned, Your Honor, there is no evidence here of a fight at all. There is no evidence that this witness was even present at the house at the same time as the victim. There's no evidence of any animus between this witness and the victim. There is no evidence whatsoever, as I stated, that he was even present at the same place at the same time on the night with John O'Keefe, on the night that John O'Keefe was killed. There is no evidence from even these videos of any physical altercation having taken place. So whatever juvenile beef that he and his friends had with individuals from another town, there's no evidence whatsoever of physical altercation. There's no evidence that there's a physical altercation even in this case. So to allow counsel to introduce this purely for prejudicial reasons and to invite the jury to speculate as to what it is essentially does nothing but divert the jury's attention away from the facts of the case and what the evidence of the case is, and more so is just there's no evidence of anything in this case.
May I begin briefly?
Yes.
In terms of evidence of a fight, I don't know what Mr. Lau is talking about. He says there's no evidence of a fight in this case. John O'Keefe looks like he had been beaten to death. He's got two black eyes, a laceration over his right eye, a laceration over his nose, a giant wound on the back of his head, and he doesn't look like he was hit by a car. He looks like he was in a physical altercation. It's as plain as the nose on your face, and we have evidence that we have witnesses who are going to propound that evidence, present that evidence. So Mr. Lally and the Commonwealth can take whatever position they want to. If they think those injuries are consistent with being hit by a 6,000-pound truck, they can knock themselves out. That is not the state of the case, and they don't get to dictate the state of the facts. The facts speak for themselves. Second, with regard to whether or not Mr. Albert was home that night, or at the home that night in a position to be able to engage in a physical altercation, which, by the way, takes about that long, that is predicated on his own family members covering for him. Every one of the witnesses who testified basically are friends and families of the Alberts. And keep in mind, Your Honor, I don't think it's lost on anybody that Colin Albert was hidden, specifically and intentionally hidden from all of law enforcement for the first several months of this investigation. Nobody was willing to even say he was at the house. That is highly, highly suspicious. Given the gravity of what we have now, I would take an issue with one thing Mr. Lally said. He said this diverts the jurors' attention. I would agree it diverts their attention. It diverts their attention to somebody who possibly could be involved with this, who was not properly investigated. And I'll submit.
Okay. So may I have those two flash drives, please? Yes. No, I was asking them. All right. So I will. Why don't we take a 15-minute recess? I'll look at these and we'll come out.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Albert, before we took a break, you had mentioned that you've never been in a fight.
Correct.
You stand by that testimony?
Correct.
I'd like you to take a look at the video. It's been marked for, sorry, it's evidence number 86. I'm going to play this short video for you, and then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Yo, your revenge boys, I will beat all your asses. I promise you, I will fuck you all up. Pull up, bitch.
Did you recognize what was depicted in that video?
Yes.
Who was that?
Me.
Approximately when was that video taken?
Around my sophomore year in high school.
Sophomore year or senior year in high school?
Say around my sophomore year in high school.
Why do you say your sophomore year when you previously, well, let me ask it a different way. Did you previously testify at a different hearing back in July of 2023?
Yes.
You were asked about this video, weren't you?
Yes.
You were asked about another video at the same time, correct?
Correct.
And in that hearing, you said you believed that was taken closer to your junior year or senior year in high school, correct?
Correct.
And that was under the oath,
Correct.
same oath that you took here.
Correct.
Closer in time to the events in question. And at that time, you said your junior year or senior year in high school, correct?
Correct.
If it was your senior year in high school, what year would that have been?
21, 22. So 2021, 2022.
Going into 2022, correct?
Yeah.
The same year that John O'Keefe passed away.
Correct.
What did you mean by, I'm gonna fuck you up?
That I was going to beat them up.
Actually, you didn't say beat them up. You said, I'm gonna beat your ass, didn't you?
Yes.
That was a threat, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was a threat directed at some other individuals with whom you had some sort of a beef or a problem.
Correct.
And your resolution of that problem is, I'm gonna fuck you up, I'm gonna beat your ass, right?
Correct.
But you've never been in a fight.
Never.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, could we play evidence number 87?
Yes.
Mr. Albert, who was that in that video?
Me.
Was that taken around the same time?
Yes.
You indicated, you're a bitch, bro, right?
Correct.
Was that a threat?
Yes.
More of an insult?
Yeah. More of an insult.
Calling someone out?
Yep.
Making them feel bad?
Yeah.
Prompting them to maybe fight?
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'll ask that question differently, Mr. Jackson.
Also called them a pussy, didn't you?
Correct.
Derogatory
So embarrassing.
comment?
Correct.
And then you said, KO, bang, bang, right?
Correct.
What's KO mean?
Knockout.
And what does bang, bang mean?
I'm not sure, honestly.
You're just talking about knocking somebody out.
Correct.
And the bang, bang just sort of flowed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Was that a threat?
Yes.
And these threats that we've just talked about, that we've just seen, these are threats of physical violence, right?
Correct.
You're not threatening to hurt their feelings or send them a mean text, right?
No.
You're threatening to kick their ass, right?
Correct.
To get physical, right?
Yes.
To ball up your fists and beat the shit out of them.
Objection.
Can you answer that? Will you answer that, please?
Yeah. Can you repeat the question?
Probably shouldn't. You were threatening to ball up your fists and beat the heck out of them.
Objection.
I'll allow it. Is that what you were threatening to do?
Yes.
When you testified in a separate proceeding in July 2023, you actually showed up for questioning live, correct?
Yes.
And you showed up at the time in July of 2023 with your knuckles busted up again, didn't you?
Correct.
And you were asked about your knuckles at that time, correct?
Correct.
And that time you said, oh no, I didn't fall down on black ice and slip and break my fall with my knuckles like you said here. You said, oh, I hit a heavy bag and busted my knuckles up on a heavy bag, right?
Correct.
So that heavy bag was you practicing boxing, right?
It was me getting cardio. Yes.
Which is in a form of fighting.
Hey, Lisa.
In a form. Yeah.
Punching a bag.
Yep.
That's how you choose to do your cardio.
Sometimes.
And you're right-handed,
Yes.
and it was your right hand that was busted up.
Correct.
So when you throw your hardest punch, that's with your right hand, isn't it?
I'd say, I'm not sure. I'd say they're equal.
You're equally strong with both hands.
I'd say so.
So in your words, you could fuck somebody up with either hand, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
You answer that.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Lally?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Allen, just to be clear, Allie McCabe is not your cousin, correct?
Correct.
She's a friend of yours who you have relatives in common, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, when you and I and other individuals met prior to your testimony in this case, it was just one time, is that correct?
Correct.
Did we talk about something called sequestration?
Is either the
Not that I remember,
bedroom
no.
or the
Did we talk
condo?
about having conversations with other witnesses while the case was pending or going on?
No.
Now, you testified when you were asked on cross-examination that you haven't had any conversations with any other witnesses, you haven't watched any coverage, you haven't done any interviews, correct?
Correct.
Was that at my instruction?
No.
Is that something that you've done at any point in time as far as talking to any other witnesses, including your parents?
No.
Now, you were asked some questions on cross-examination about your family's relationship sort of with the Proctor family, correct?
Correct.
And taking the Proctor family as it was put as sort of an entity, what I'm going to ask you about is purely about Trooper Michael Proctor. How many times have you seen him in your life?
Maybe 5, 6 times.
And when,
The stairs
when
were
about would those be, and what was
his
the nature
house,
of those interactions?
Colin's parents' house.
Other than when I got
Colin.
interviewed last time with Trooper Proctor and one of his partners. Other than that, I didn't see him for years, I want to say, since I was a young kid.
And when you were a young kid, just so we're clear, as far as young, how young is young?
Maybe saw him. I could have seen him at like a football game or something, but other than that, like pretty young, like 12, 11, 13 years old.
And whereabout or what was the context in which you would have seen him? Was it you and him together, or was it a group setting, family? How would you have come into contact with him?
We've been over the grandmother's house a couple of times, but that's pretty much the only time I would see him.
Now, as far as the photograph that you were shown, as far as a wedding was concerned, you were a ring bearer in that wedding?
Correct.
And that was over 10 years ago, you said?
Yes.
But how old would you have been in that particular photograph or in that particular wedding?
If I had to guess, 8 or 9, maybe around there.
Oh, was it his
Do you
parents'
have any
bedroom?
independent memory of that wedding or anything about that wedding?
None.
And as far as your family being close, again, sort of the Proctor family as an entity, is your family close with all of the Proctors, or is your family close with Courtney Proctor, or is your family close with Michael Proctor?
Mostly just like my aunt and my mom's friendly with Courtney, I'd say. Not really close with Michael.
There are some questions about the text messages that were up on the screen yesterday and up on the screen today. As far as sort of gap between January 28th and February, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, you indicated that there were other means by which you would have communicated with your friend Allie McCabe, is that correct?
Correct.
Is that consistent with, is that only Allie McCabe, or is that consistent with other friends that you would communicate with?
All my friends.
You would sort of switch between call, text, Snapchat, other apps, things like that.
Exactly.
And the top of that screen was the text messages regarding picking you up from 34 Fairview on January 28th or 29th, correct?
Correct.
Do you have any idea when the last time was? The text before that, was it days, weeks, months?
Not sure.
That period sort of,
Thank you.
Yeah.
that period of sort of January 28th until February, is that, how would you characterize that? Is that a normal gap between times that you would have text communications with Allie McCabe?
On iMessage, yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
And from the photographs that you were shown yesterday during your direct examination when I was asking you questions, those were photographs from February 11th of 2022, correct?
Correct.
And Ms. McCabe was present at the house for your cousin Jack coming home from the Marine Corps as well?
Correct.
You saw her on February 11th, correct?
Yes.
Now, the other photographs that you were shown today at some sort of bar or establishment, were those taken before or after the time at your uncle's house when your cousin Jack came home from the Marines?
After.
And after by days, weeks, if you know?
Weeks.
Now, with regard to questions you were asked about injuries to your hands. Those are two separate incidents, one in February when you slipped on ice, is that correct?
Correct.
And one in July when you had struck a heavy bag, correct?
Correct.
And when you struck a heavy bag and got sort of injuries on your hands, were you wearing anything on your hand when you hit the heavy bag?
Nothing. Nope.
Have you received any sort of training in boxing, taking classes, anything like that?
Never.
So it's something you do as part of your workout, correct?
Correct.
You're an athlete, correct?
I'd like to say so, yeah.
You played sports in high school, correct?
Yeah.
And at least at the beginning of college, you played sports in college, correct?
Correct.
Now, you were asked about things about that February 26th photo at, I forget, it was Fenway Johnny's, is that where it was?
Correct.
And you were asked about control over the photograph, correct?
Say that again?
You were asked different questions about your control over what you could do or alter with respect to the photograph, correct?
Yes, correct.
Ultimately, though, you were in control about whether or not you were photographed, correct?
Yes.
Nobody forced you to go up and pose with your friends or anything like that?
Nope.
Now, as far as those videos that you were just shown, how old were you?
Around 16, I'd say around 16 years old.
So you believe it was sometime in your sophomore year of high school?
Yes, that's what I believe.
And so that would have been a couple years before your senior year of high school, which you were in January 2022, correct?
Correct.
And this video, as far as you recall who you were referencing in those videos?
An advantage club hockey team.
So a club hockey team, were they about the same age as you?
Yes.
And did you know any of those people?
Nope.
And were they the club hockey team, was that within the same town as you were?
I'm not sure.
Did you play hockey
Nope.
at any point in time in high school?
Never.
And was this just you sending them videos, or was this some sort of argument or something going back and forth?
It was an argument going back and forth.
So what, if anything, did you or any of your friends receive in regard to from that club hockey team?
We received texts like being name called, like calling pussies and words like that.
So do you recall which came first as far as the text or the video?
I do not recall.
But similar, the text message that you received from this club hockey team, were they similar in nature to the videos that you posted?
Correct.
Do you recall what the argument was about with this other group of kids from this club hockey team?
Yeah. It was the girls in our friend group. A couple of the girls in our friend group like hung out with them a few times. So like all my guy friends got a little salty about it. So that's why we kind of sent videos back and forth.
So you were teenage kids arguing about girls, correct?
Exactly.
And at any point in time, did your friend group and this club hockey team ever meet up at all?
Never.
Any sort of physical altercation or anything like that?
Nope.
You indicated that you've never really been in a fight except for with your brothers, correct?
Correct.
And when you would get in a fight with your brothers, how old were you then?
Younger, I'd say. Yeah, younger.
Younger, like as young as you were when you were ring bearer in somebody's wedding?
Yeah.
Now, with regard to John O'Keefe, your neighbor who lived a couple doors down, did you ever threaten John O'Keefe?
Never.
John O'Keefe ever threaten you?
Never.
Did you ever get in an argument about girls?
Nope.
Any animus or any conflict that you can recall ever between yourself and Mr. O'Keefe?
Never.
Now, you were asked some questions on cross-examination regarding whether or not you've been thinking about this case for the last 2.5 years. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you indicated that you had not, correct?
Correct. Sorry.
And you had indicated in your testimony in response to that questioning, essentially not until people were writing things about you on the internet, correct? Correct. Can you expound upon that? Can you explain to the jury sort of when that occurred and what were the things that were being written about you on the internet?
I'd say about a little over a year. It started when people on Twitter, Instagram, social media were just coming at my family, calling us murderers, harassing us, showing up to our doorsteps, our sports games. I mean, we couldn't leave the house without people taking pictures of us, and it's very terrible.
And how long has that gone on for?
the past year and change, past year and a couple months, I'd say.
To be clear, that night that you were at 34 Fairview Road at your uncle's house, January 28th and 29th, at any point in time did you see John O'Keefe at that house, come into that house, around that house, at any point in time that you were there?
Never.
Nothing further.
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Albert, you're all set. I think that piece of paper goes back to Mr. Jackson.
You're muted, sweetie.
Thanks. One of these days I'm gonna learn. So we were just gonna watch Allie and Colin today because some of you are new here. I did not watch the first trial, and a lot of other people didn't either. And so we've kind of been going back when there's been no court to watch testimony of people who are looking like they're not going to be called in the second trial for numerous reasons. And I thought it was really interesting. I don't understand, why no one, law enforcement, civilian, can't answer the simplest of questions. Why is everyone so dodgy?
It makes him look sus, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like all of his questions, when was the last time you talked to Allie? I don't know. It just, come on. You have to know some of those answers. You're making yourself look like an idiot. Or you are an idiot. I don't know. It's one or the other. You're either being, dodgy or
I think he's
idiot.
following his parents' instructions. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I've got to give him a little bit of grace for that because he's doing what his parents told him to.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't realize when he gets older, he's going to look back and say, why didn't I just answer and tell the truth? Why did I do that?
Oh yeah, him and Allie both clearly have been coached. I guess he has his own lawyer too, because them being like, can you rephrase that for me? You don't know that. You don't know to say that as a normal person to a lawyer. You only know that if you've been coached to do that.
Well, I could
Colin's
see
parents are Julie and Chris Albert. Chris owns the pizza place next to, I want to say the waterfall, wherever those bars were.
Right.
Because they went to two bars that night and I get confused of which one it's next to. But so Julie and Chris Albert is who they are. And I think the next time we have a day where there's no court, I think we might watch the two sisters, Nicole and Julie.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious of what they have to say too. It's just so interesting. Like, I don't know if I think this kid did anything, but Allie's like, 360's wrong. Just like her mom, where everything's wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, is it wrong? If this is wrong, then that means other data that uses this, we should think is wrong too. Is that what you're saying here? I don't know.
I mean, there's just so much wrong with the evidence, the way it was handled, and the way people are not wanting to just answer the question. You have no reason to lie unless you've got something to hide.
I mean, yeah.
That's what I can't get past.
Because okay, and I get the kids, right? They're in high school. It's their senior year when this happens. I get, okay, you probably lied to your parents,
right?
Changed some stuff. You went out drinking. We've all been in high school before, and that's fine. Okay, and clearly they're comfortable with talking about it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, why are we being sketchy with
the
other things? Yeah, I don't know. Something.
I would have preferred if he would have just said, I haven't been in a fight, but I have threatened a hockey team. We got into a beef and we decided to all posture up and throw shade at each other. Then I would have been like, okay, that makes sense. But to say you've never been in a fight, you're threatening a fight. So he just should have owned it.
He should have owned it. I mean, I get it was embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
It's so embarrassing and cringy. Oh my goodness. But I forget, I clicked, excuse me, somebody just said it's interesting. Oh, yeah. How the Commonwealth and the second trial are not calling witnesses. They're not calling certain law enforcement people, which I feel like they should because they name drop them all the time. They're not calling anybody that was in the house that night except for Jen, it seems like. Well, that's not true. They did call Julie Nagel and Sarah Levison, or I might have their first names mixed up, but Levison and Nagel, the girls, were in the house. But it's just very interesting.
And I'm almost finished with my comparison between trial 1 and trial 2 of who's being called for who's still left on the list. So I'm going to try to get that finished so I can give it to you before tomorrow.
Okay. Elbow feet, I know you're listening. Can you come let the dogs out, please? Thanks. Yeah, so rumor has it that the prosecution's only calling one more witness. So, which will be Dr. Welcher, most likely.
There's just so many people we still need to hear from. And I hope the defense calls them because I'm still waiting for the prosecution to make sense. The way they've called witnesses and stuff. I'm still waiting for the light bulb to go, oh, that's why they did it this way or that, but I can't. Or it's just me.
I've never seen a trial like this before. Oh man, it's been certainly interesting to see. And then going back and, watching some of the testimony from the first trial also has been very interesting. And oh my God, do I hope they call my disgraced former trooper Michael Proctor. Oh, I want to see it so bad.
Me too. Now finding out, because I didn't watch the kids last time, now finding out how close they were and how long they knew each other, Michael Proctor should have immediately recused himself. I'm sorry, immediately recused himself.
Yeah. Who let the dogs out? You know who's not letting out the dogs right now? Elbow feet. You know what that means? It means he stopped listening to me. So thanks.
He's a man. It happens.
I'm just kidding. Wait, are we talking about my dogs or Chloe at the house? Because I have so many questions about Chloe too.
I think all of the dogs.
All of those dogs. Al, hello. Says only Jen McCabe has said John didn't come in the house in trial 2. Defense is going to call Higgins and ask him about his testimony seeing a 6-foot brown-haired guy in the house. I mean, are they going to call Higgins? I don't know. I don't know. Because they're pointing the finger at him. So the defense would run the risk of like, okay, we could get him to probably say the things we need, but you could open the door to where he could completely ruin, or it would make your third party culprit defense not as strong as I think that it's actually doing pretty well up in this second trial so far. And since the only reason why it's coming across is because prosecution is doing a horrific job of telling the story, the evidence, their witnesses. I mean, this defense has taken just about every single prosecution witness and turned it into their own, which is impressive. Never seen anything like that before. Not at all. Oh, man. Well, thank you guys for everyone that's new today. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. This show, Couch Court with Llama, goes live every morning at 8:30 Eastern, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We hang out for a little bit, catch up, talk, and then we start court whenever it starts. But that's what we do here. Hold on, I'm gonna go let my dogs out.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go let the dogs out. Yeah, I hope they call Proctor just because we need to hear, and he is such a big part of the investigation. I don't see how the defense can't call him, because he is, to me, that red string that connects to everything that went sideways with the investigation. I think his finger is on a lot of it. So, in my opinion, I think you have to, because he is a huge common denominator. I don't know if anybody else agrees, but I know if I was on the jury, as much as I've heard the name Proctor said and all of this stuff, I would need to know. I would need to know why he's not being called, because how can they make a decision on someone's life if they can't hear from the person who led the investigation?
Sorry.
So, how can they make a decision if they don't get to hear from Proctor? He led the investigation. How, as a juror, could you make a decision if
I
you
would
didn't
think it's
hear from him?
weird. I would be like, what? But now, granted, I watch a lot of trials, so I don't expect like a normal average person to know that, but I'm sure they would be like any of these law enforcement that if defense calls and the prosecution doesn't, is not going to make the prosecution look bad. I do feel like the jury probably already feels a bit deceived by the prosecution for numerous reasons. So I don't know. Sorry. I did. I went in there. I was like, so I see you're not watching my stream.
But
What
you
are
know
watching
what?
instead?
He's a man that owned it and apologized for it.
There we go. Elbow feet.
But I think even a person who doesn't watch trials and is on the jury, hearing Proctor's name so much,
Mhm.
and he was the lead investigator, and then hearing that he's former Trooper Proctor, are they wondering, is he deceased or are they hiding him from me?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I saw somebody say a comment. Sorry, I'm not good at looking at the comments and when I'm talking, I'm not good at all that. But I did see one that flew by that said they heard that maybe the jury thinks Proctor's dead.
He's dead.
So that's a good thought. So the defense really does need to call
They
Proctor. And
do.
what is Proctor going to say that's going to damage the case? I mean, for the defense, I mean, for the prosecution, he's horrible. And I've never seen a trial where that's ever been the case. The lead investigator. Oh, sorry, my hair's being all glitchy.
I think the prosecution is trying to avoid what happened in the first trial with Proctor. I mean, let's be honest there. I get their theory behind it, but I don't think they realize if I was sitting on that jury, I'd be like, wait a minute. Why is the main investigator not testified?
I would be. I
mean,
hope they bring him so bad. He's the only one I really,
just put it out
back.
there, because you've done a great job of getting the defense to do what you want. So you just need to put it out there. Use your mind control and tell them, or tell Kelly P to call her man and tell her man we need Proctor.
My mom last week, I talked to her after one of the shows and she was like, oh my God, so you said the court was listening to your show? And I was like, what? No. Like, that was clearly a joke, Mom. Nobody's watching my show. We're just kidding about before she goes starting rumors.
Is precious of your mom that she thinks. So is she the person that whatever's on the internet she believes? Because if so, we need to keep her off the internet.
Sometimes.
No, but I love that she knows you are that special, that you have that ability.
I was like, oh my God, no, Mom. And she's like, well, we've seen it before. And that's true. That is true. There has been other streamers who appeared in court cases because of their coverage. Yeah. I watched it myself in real time when it happened. So it does happen, but no, I have no connection to anybody at this courthouse or any of that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I hope everyone's having a great holiday. For those in the States, it's Memorial Day. It's the day where we honor our fallen soldiers, and it's a decent holiday day today. I only say it because it was very cold last week. It looks nice out today. Thank goodness.
What's y'all's temperature? I mean, we had a little cold snap. We're only going to be 96 in Austin today.
Oh, it's 63 degrees.
Yeah, big difference, big difference. The thing that keeps resonating with me,
Mhm.
John's family, John is not going to get justice. It's just not going to happen. And I honestly don't think we're ever going to know the truth.
I don't either.
And
I
that
don't
is
either.
so heartbreaking to me.
Hmm. Yeah, and his poor niece and nephew. Oh, I hope those kids are okay. It's pretty sad.
Whole family. I mean, I have goosebumps now. I've made myself all sappy.
Well, yeah, you guys. So there won't be a couch court with Llama after dark tonight because Sean Diddy Combs court is also not meeting today because of the holiday. So all of that is happening tomorrow on Tuesday. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it. There are good, there are good wolves and other wolf, good llama, and other llama. There's so many people with the last name Wolf in this trial.
I know.
Yes, I do. I am looking forward to ARCA. Again, I didn't see the first trial and I only watched their voir dire for this one, and they didn't really say anything about their testimony. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Dr. Welch, the prosecution, accident reconstructions from Aperture, because after Burgess makes me a little nervous to see what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
But I am interested nonetheless, because that's kind of, so I've had like, as this trials went along, I've had like check marks of like, okay, what do I need to see as we're going along in this trial? Okay. The first one was medical examiner. Like, I need to hear from them about the injuries on his body. Check. We did that. It wasn't enough for me. It didn't. It didn't come across as getting hit by a car. Maybe for some people it did. I did find the ME credible and just one of the few that I found credible. But it's very interesting. The other one was the meteorologist, Chick, who was great because it turned out there's not that much snow on the ground when everybody was leaving the house. Was less than an inch of snow didn't even fall until like 3 a.m. It wasn't a blizzard at that time. The blizzard didn't come until 1 p.m. And so like, to know that there's only like a little bit of snow, how does that cover a 6'1" grown man's body that nobody saw with their new ass car lights? Not nobody, even Higgins, who was parked in the street.
Right.
So those are some of the things I did say in the opening statements, Brennan had talked about the freezer or the phone temperature for the battery. And I was like, ooh, that's something I want to hear. But then what's his name? Ian Whiffen. He didn't even do the experiment like you're supposed to do an experiment. So I had to throw all of that out. Because see, that's the problem, is that like, sure, there's evidence, but the way it's collected or put together or interpreted, like, it's too messy.
It's very subjective. No one, they haven't done the testing. I mean, I think everybody takes science in school, no matter what state you're in. To do an experiment, you have to actually do it. Right?
Yeah. Oh, and then they had the neurosurgeon guy that was on Thursday. He didn't say that it had to be a car that caused that damage to his brain, that you could be drunk and slip and it could happen. So he wasn't helpful really for the prosecution either, which I thought was interesting. But I have learned a lot of stuff watching this trial that, comparing to other trials we've watched, we all thought Celebrate was super credible, and this is turns out no. Turns out your data is not as,
I feel like I've done this. Yes, no, yes, no.
They have not done a plow driver in this trial. I've heard that there was a plow driver plow driver in the first trial, but they haven't brought one in yet. But I think he was a defense witness last time. Yeah, I feel like somebody said he was defense
Let me
last
look
time. So
at
couldn't care less. Oh, welcome.
plow driver was not called by the prosecution last time. He was
Oh,
called
thank
by
you,
the defense
Kelly.
last time.
Okay, so we might have him to look forward to, because the defense said their case was going to be about a week and a half.
Yeah.
So they could call him, I suppose. Thank you, Kelly, for being a member and having your memberversary. You guys, on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, me and Terry are going to do a members only right here on our channel. I don't know what to expect.
It's great.
It's
I
kind of-
will give a little hint. If you have liked this trial coverage, you're going to really love Wednesday night.
Oh, really? Oh boy. Okay. I'm excited.
And
It'll be a fun time.
P. Diddy
And there's P. Diddy.
recap. There's going to be some fun there.
I got my baby oil. Make sure you all bring your
That's exactly. You got your baby oil. That's all you're going to need. And I would suggest some cocktails if you're a cocktail person. If not, bring a mocktail.
A mocktail. Okay. Wait, so I need to buy my
Llama,
turn?
you need to drink. I'm going to just be honest.
Oh, okay. All right then. I don't know if this is making me feel any more
Midday
comfortable.
Moscato would be perfect leading into members only. You're just going to want to keep it going.
Llama, we're going to need you to drink for like 4 hours before we go live. Okay, great. Thanks. Oh boy. No, I look forward to it.
So
Oh,
when do you think? So that if I remember correctly, they said the defense only was going to be like a week or a week and a half.
a week and a half is what the
So
defense had
are
said.
we 2 weeks out from this being over?
I think so. I do.
And then how
well,
long for them to deliberate, do you think, this
Right.
time?
Well, I heard that with the first trial, they were in there for the whole week. Like they kept coming back and being like, we can't agree. And apparently Auntie Bev was like, too bad. Go talk about it more.
Yeah.
And it took them 5 days and it was still a hung jury. And I am expecting this to be a hung jury as well. So
And
I
that
think somebody said she had like a rule, like for every week of trial, she made a day of
a day of,
deliberation. I believe somebody said that before.
I just do not know how. I mean, I think it's going to be a hung jury as well. And that just baffles me because even if you think she's guilty, okay, I'm going to just go on a limb here. Even if you think she's guilty, how can you look at the evidence that has been mishandled and make that decision?
Mhm.
There's enough reasonable doubt just
Yeah.
because of the way things have been handled. And look at the prosecution witnesses that, I'm sorry, they've discredited them.
Oh, yeah, hardcore. Some of them.
I mean, you need evidence to convict someone.
I feel like people feel very passionately their stance on whether they think she's guilty or not guilty. And there's a lot of people in between. I don't know. It's very difficult to get 12 people to agree on anything. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't think all 12 are going to find her guilty, to be honest, because they haven't really shown much in that effect. But you know
I'm
what? That's the
hoping-
thing. You never know what juries. Any lawyer will tell you, you cannot predict what a jury is going to ever do. So we'll see.
And will you come back and cover trial 3 if it goes to a third trial?
Of course, because I can't even believe it.
I can't believe it got
I can't
to
believe
one.
it had a second one. And I would be like, that would be wild to have a third one with all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't even call most of the same witnesses because they were bad witnesses.
I know.
That's crazy.
Who is the prosecution going to have to call if they have to go to a third trial? Look at how many people they had to drop from trial 1.
Mhm.
How many are they going to have to drop before trial 2?
Yeah. I've never seen that in any trial where every other witness was just, again, I don't even, it's hard to say that, like, for me to be like, oh, yeah, it was the McAlberts that did it or the Bryans, because everyone, even the experts in law enforcement, are being weird and skeevy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand.
But we also have to remember that ME, I believe, said she didn't believe John died from a car, wasn't hit by a car. Isn't that correct?
I think she said that too. But, or at least it was undecided. I know it was undecided, but I want to hear from like the doctor at the ER.
Mhm.
You know, like I want to hear more about like where John, his condition was when he went to the hospital. Like, was he dead? I mean, I know they can't declare it till they warm the body up, but like,
Right.
I would like to know a little bit more from like the emergency.
Thank you,
We're
Buffy.
not consistent with a car crash. Thank you. I would like to see that emergency room doctor, or, you know,
Mhm.
something along those lines. Because the neurosurgeon, Dr. Wolf, with no E, I think, he could only, you know, talk about the brain, but it didn't sound like a car hit him either. So we'll see.
Like I said, unfortunately, at the end, there's not going to be justice and there's not going to be the truth.
Mm-hmm. That's why proper protocol when you collect evidence is important. This is why recording victims' statements or witness statements correctly with a recorder of some kind is important, because when you don't do those things, you get this situation.
And you take everybody's phones before they have a chance to ditch them.
Right. Or you don't wait 15 months to talk to people that were in the house. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, you guys, listen. You remember how Terry last week did jury duty? Maybe you guys are new here. Well, our lovely Terry True Crime got called for jury duty last week, and we're going to go talk about it with you guys, but not here. We're going to start a new stream. You guys are just, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to move. We're going to redirect you right to that. And then her and I are going to talk all about her jury experience, because I am so excited. I've had to sit on my hands and basically not talk to you all weekend.
I know. I would tell. I mean, even my besties are like, "Were you going to tell me?" I'm like, "No, you're going to have to wait because I promised Llama the exclusive, and you have to get it there first."
Yes.
So I learned to stay off social media while on jury duty, and I learned to keep my mouth shut. Which, those of you that are new here, that is hard.
Yes, I know her.
It's hard. If I'm not talking, you should be scared.
And that's true. That's true. Well, you guys, if you don't follow us for the next one, that's okay, I guess, but you're probably going to miss out on some good stuff.
Because there is some comparisons to
really?
some of the witnesses in this case.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I even talked to the attorneys afterwards a little bit, and there's some similarities.
Awesome. Okay, well, we're going to end this stream. We're going to send you over to the other one. Give us about 5 minutes, because I would like to go potty and get something to drink. But just hang out. The chat will be open, so you can hang out with all your besties. And press the like button when you go over there and get it started, so people know we're going to be live for that. All right.
Okay. See you shortly.
Guys, thank you so much for being
here today.
Tuck your arms in. Until next time, go.